like how it has been. I won't even know if we're live. It looks like the broadcast is deleted on Facebook. All right, well, we'll move it then.
So when you're late, Facebook just won't let you do it again?
Yeah, it says if you're late, you can't do it. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Atagua. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in Accra, Ghana. And if you guys want to know what we think about what's happening in the news in Africa and around the world, then this is the video for you. Same as always, but it does go. It did last. Technical difficulties. Yeah, we what's up, C Upshaw? What is up, Lavina? What's up, everybody on Instagram? I'm gonna give you guys the link to be able to watch this on YouTube Live. You guys can see us back there on Instagram. If you want to let us know what you're thinking, if you want to comment, come over to YouTube and comment there. I'm gonna put a link up on the Instagram right now so that we can do that. I'll be right back, YouTube.
What? I literally said that to somebody yesterday. Who did I say that to? Huh? I said, I'm live. Oh, hi.
We are live, guys. We are live.
I literally just said that to somebody yesterday.
All right, so on Instagram, give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. If you want to engage in the conversation, the phone is really far away, so I'm not going to be able to go back and forth and look at the comments and questions there. But we are going to be able to do it on YouTube. So if you want, definitely come over to YouTube. And the link is pinned. It's pinned in the comments there. Just click on the link and join us on YouTube. All right. So Selwina is live. Hey, what's up? What's up? We have C Upshaw as well. All right, cool. So today we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. You guys have been asking, so we are going to talk about it. We're definitely going to be going over what happened on Young, Famous, and African. We got a lot of opinions here in the room. So there's a lot to talk about there. And we'll also talk about other things happening in news that is happening in Africa and the diaspora. So maybe we can start with this conversation we were just having about, do one of you guys want to talk about the story, the guy's name, his girlfriend, the Nigerian guy? So just like to set the stage a little bit, because I saw the aftermath of it, didn't know the details of the story. But basically there was a gentleman, Nigerian gentleman of Nigerian descent, was dating a Caucasian young lady, and she stabbed him to death. And there's a whole backstory that I was not familiar with. I only saw the aftermath of her being out and about with her father, and a video that's gone viral of a girl mentioning that you just killed your boyfriend, so you shouldn't be out and about. So that was the only context I had. But today I became aware that there's so much more to this story. So we should talk about it. So do you want to? Oh yeah, I can close this. All right, closed. So let's talk about it. What do either one of you guys want to give some more context to the story, like what the situation is?
Because I've been paying close attention. Wait, hold on. You gonna give the tea context, or you just gonna let me just give the facts, and then you can dive in deep to the juice. Okay. So on Sunday, this past Sunday, triple X rated XXX Courtney Claney, also known as Courtney Taylor, who is a triple X rated OnlyFans model and IG model, and by way of background information, a blonde-haired white girl brutally stabbed her Nigerian boyfriend. So she's 25 years old. Her Nigerian boyfriend was a 27-year-old Christian Obumseli. Unfortunately, it was a fatal stabbing. He did not make it. And that's not an unusual situation. I mean, domestics happen all the time. They're the most deadly police cases. What is interesting about this situation is all of the information that Black Twitter has unearthed.
Black Twitter
all the
will
information
not
that
let you
Black
rest.
Twitter has unearthed after the passing of poor Mr. Obumseli.
Even in the unfortunate event of your passing, you're not gonna rest messing with Black Twitter. It's something to dig up.
So these are the details.
Okay, so those are the facts.
Those are the facts. Those are the facts.
White girl, Nigerian guy, stabbing, deadly.
So,
He dead. Insert Black Twitter.
Rest in
Kenye?
peace.
Yes.
So automatically, the initial response from Black Twitter is, of course, from Black women, because we're always the first ones to cry out. How can this be?
Right.
It's a white girl. She killed this man. How dare she? Outrage, anger. About 10, not even hours, 10 minutes
10
later,
seconds into it.
some super sleuth was like, wait a minute.
Hold up.
I know this guy.
Mm.
He apparently had multiple tweets. Multiple. And once you put something, it's one way to feel a certain way.
Sure.
But once you put it online multiple times, you're creating a narrative and a brand basically for yourself.
Correct.
His platform on Twitter was basically about his disdain for Black women and
Hated
his
us.
desire for white women.
Loved them.
He's putting out personal ad tweets like, I want a white girl help. Let me read the tweets verbatim, because I don't want anybody to think we're just trying to give this guy a bad name. Because honestly, it's a tragic situation.
It is.
I feel terrible for his family.
It's shame.
It's bad. It's bad all the way around. And for this to be the legacy that he left behind, it's not good. It's bad.
It's very bad.
C. Upshaw says she feels bad for his family. We do too. Seriously.
I feel terrible for that man's family.
Of course he feels terrible for his
of
family.
course.
Like his mother somewhere had already been planning a Igbo traditional marriage to one distant cousin that he had that was holding out hope for him to come back and take her, and then insert Black Twitter.
So here are the tweets. Here's one tweet from him. One of my followers, quote, "Black girls are born knowing how to shake their ass. Me, honestly, I don't care. They're not my type." Another tweet. Can't believe one of my followers thinks I talk to Black girls when I don't! Exclamation point. Another tweet. White titties are greater than Black titties. Just saying, huh? Another tweet.
Wow.
The way Black girls disgrace themselves on TV. ... Another tweet. Hold on.
God.
There's more. LOL, I can teach a white girl a little bit about the African culture. Another tweet. Want a white girl, #help.
Wow.
Wanted.
Wow.
White girl, #help.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with a preference.
Preferences
You can have a preference as long
are
as
totally allowed.
what you don't prefer, you don't speak negatively on what you don't prefer, right?
Especially when
what you prefer is the kum that you came out of.
What you don't prefer, you don't prefer.
What you don't prefer
So
is
how
dare
the uterus that pushed you out. The Black titties that gave you life.
Black titties is life, imagine.
The
And you
Black
have the
titties
nerve.
of life.
Again, RIP to that man, but the message he was choosing.
Yeah.
Again, when you take it to the internet, you want people to know this about you. And you think these tweets are from him, they're going back for years. You didn't go back and scrub your account at any point.
Right.
You had to know. You know how the internet works? Look
Yep.
at you. You're gone now, and this is what remains. When people go to look and see what type of person you were and what you stood for, that's what you wanted, a white girl. And that was the death of you, literally.
See your own life. And why I feel bad for his family, of course, primarily, is because their beloved son is gone. And that is not at all what they came to America to accomplish. That is not what they came here to do, to lose a son. I also feel bad for his family because the embarrassment the embarrassment now that your son looks like a self-hating buffoon in his passing, such that now public scrutiny and public sympathy, even from Black Twitter, that was ready to rise to the occasion to make him a cause, has now turned against him.
I mean, you see people left and right, just like, well, I'm just gonna mind my Black woman business. Well, not my, and he's like, you can't be mad. He went out of his way to express his disdain for Black women, and so now what can you expect? What can you expect?
So the other part that got pretty particularly spicy and interesting, I wish I could show you guys what it's on my phone, but the triple X rated OnlyFans model. The kind of look at the kind of human being. Even look at the kind of
You can send it to me on WhatsApp. I can share it.
Oh, I can send it to you on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Okay, let me send it to you on WhatsApp. Okay, because the kind of human being. Hours after the shooting, on the day of the shooting, she's taking selfies. Her boobs are out. She's throwing up the peace sign. Everything but her nips are covered. You throwing up the peace sign, and you have killed somebody. Like, I don't understand what's going on. You know what? Let me take a step back. I don't know that this is before or after the shooting. I just know that, I'm sorry, before or after the stabbing, but it is the day of the stabbing. And so what's particularly interesting to me, it makes no difference, in my opinion, whether it is before or after the stabbing, because her attorneys are now trying to set the stage to make a claim for mental illness or mental distress.
Right.
And or prior physical abuse from him.
And therefore self-defense. Right? So there are some states, right? And obviously I'm only licensed in Illinois. This incident did not happen in Illinois, but there are some states where, like, the imminent harm, it doesn't have to be right now. It doesn't have to be immediate harm. There are some states where, like, an ongoing pattern of domestic violence and domestic abuse would be enough to have, like, for a jury to acquit, or enough mitigating circumstances for somebody's charges to be dropped down from murder, say, to manslaughter. Right? Even in Illinois, right? The difference between murder and manslaughter, that could be the difference between life without parole, like you're dying in prison, versus you get out in 5 years, 5 to 7, right? So, like, right now her attorneys are already on it. They have jumped on it. And what upsets me the most is that nobody's saying it, but it must be said that this is a Nigerian from an immigrant family, and this is a blonde-haired, pretty little petite white girl, and her attorneys have already started spinning this web of self-defense. They started spinning this web of villainizing this deceased individual who cannot speak for himself. That's upsetting to me, because we cannot deny the fact that race plays a part and has played a part in the demise of many Black men. Right?
Yeah. So it's one thing for him to have the preference and be rude, basically, to Black women online. It's a whole other thing to turn him into the abuser after he was the victim.
Right.
And
I mean, there's nothing more. You're
dead.
She was covered in blood. There are pictures of her literally sitting
what she
there.
says versus nothing, because he's not even here to defend himself. So it's just her word, basically.
And imagine how the word of a white girl, he might have well been an absolute, like, terror to her. He might very well have been extremely abusive to her. He might very well have done everything that I'm sure her attorneys are going to allege at a hearing. It might not even go to a trial, but I'm sure everything that, you know, that he's going to let versus she said. You never actually know exactly what happened in the household. However, we cannot deny the fact that white women and their tears and their sadness and their sorrow and their lies and their stories have killed many a Black man in history.
Big facts.
So I'm very suspicious. I'm very, very skeptical.
Because, and then what did we see? The next day, apparently she was comfortable enough, her and her father, to be sitting at a Miami bar having drinks and unwinding. And they only got up and left because someone started to record them. Yep. And like, what are you doing out here in public? Like, you just killed your boyfriend. And so they promptly exited the building. But imagine how comfortable you are.
Yeah, after you just stabbed him. How many times did she stab him? Did they say?
They didn't say, but
enough to kill him.
Multiple times. I mean, she was covered in blood. She was caked in blood.
Went out for a drink the next day with her dad.
Yes.
Wow.
To catch up and get the story
According to her
together.
attorney, it's because her father wanted to pop in and check in on how she was doing, and so they had to do that at a Miami hotel bar.
Mhm.
They couldn't do that in the privacy of their own. Imagine Alfred Sanfori. I have now killed my boyfriend. I don't care what the reason was. Even if he was beating me, like now dad is mad. Why are you letting this man beat you? I don't care what the reason was. You have killed somebody, and then we're going to go have drinks.
We're hanging
Outside
out
somewhere.
We're hanging out anywhere instead of hiding your face in shame. Instead of being on the first flight to Sierra Leone to go have the ancestors go pray for you, we're going to meet at a bar to go do what? Alfred would never. My father could not ever. So yeah, everything about the situation, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, and I also and I think the other part of it too is if the roles were reversed, right? Would the insanity plea work? Would the idea of there being what was it called, the what law?
Baker Act.
The Baker Act. Would that apply? Doubt it. I think the court of public opinion would have been.
And with the Baker Act, basically, they weren't releasing her name because she was put into a mental health facility.
Right.
But people knew who they were, so eventually her name just started coming out.
Absolutely.
Wild.
Because, well, that's the internet, and that's how that works.
That's
right?
how that
her
works.
Her name comes out, her triple X rated videos come out, like the pictures of her having drinks with her father, the video of her having drinks with her father come out, the pictures of her covered in blood come out.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, in relation to preferences, I just saw that she was on a podcast like last week talking about her preferences, and her preferences were rich black men.
Well, they both got what they wanted.
A match made somewhere.
So Wina says, I feel bad for his family, but isn't his mom black? Yes. Protect your mental health. I guess I don't feel bad after hearing those tweets.
You want to feel bad.
You want to feel
I mean,
bad.
I don't ever want to see somebody die, regardless of the things that they say, right?
No,
Loss of life
no.
is a loss of life. But I mean, I don't. It's he got the woman that he wanted.
It's the epitome of making your bed and laying in it.
It's literally.
It's the epitome of making your bed and laying in. Again, we're not here to blame the victim. The fact is, he's
Not
the
at
victim.
all.
She's not. Until we have any kind of like proof or demonstrable evidence that she was actually the victim of domestic violence on that day, because that'll be the other thing. Like for me, it needed to be domestic violence that particular day, in that moment, not domestic violence from last week that you just can't take it anymore and then you stab him, right? So unless we have some demonstrable proof that he was like attacking her that day, and we may very well, right? That may very well come to light as like the days go on. He is the only victim here. And it is really, really unfortunate that he, in his legacy, an infinite lack of wisdom on social media has now made it incredibly difficult.
There's a life lesson in this, guys.
Incredibly difficult for us to feel.
Maybe go back to your old tweets if you turned over a new leaf and don't feel maybe as strongly as you did in 2012, 14, 19. Get that stuff off your timeline because that's going to last a lot longer than you do on this earth, and it's not a good look. It's
true story.
It's a bad look for this boy.
Other life lesson in this is love yourself. Stop hating yourself. I don't care what the media tells you. We're popping like melanin, ding, dun, 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 mela. We're the bomb. Who wouldn't want to be with us? Of course, that is her preference. It should be everybody's preference. Rich black men are kings. They're everything, right? But love yourself. Love yourself. Love the people who love you. Love the people who fed you. Love the people who gave birth to you. Love the people who are always going to be down for you. That for me is also the other life lesson. Yeah. Like it's just, it really, really is unfortunate that he ended up sleeping with his actual enemy. And like you said, it was the demise of him.
So C. Upshaw says, and it looks like she's going to get away with it. Likely, it's pretty likely. My guy Kels, yo, what's up? He says, what's up to you guys? So Kels Acosta, he's the guy who got me started on Instagram. Got me started on YouTube. Yeah. If you saw the 10 things I wish I knew before coming to Ghana.
Oh, that was him.
That's
okay,
Kels.
awesome.
Yeah. He got me on YouTube. So
I sent the video or the picture. Will you share it?
Oh, I will absolutely share. If you guys want to see the young lady. Oh, so hi.
Hello.
Do you guys want to try to pronounce that name? I feel like an American trying to pronounce African name.
What? Okiemute. Okiemute.
Okay, Mute.
If that's the
If
person's
that's the
name.
name.
Yes,
I don't know if
you
that's
have to
the
let
name.
us know. Do one of those like, how do you pronounce your name things? Let us know.
I don't know. If
But
it's
shout out to
the
you. Thanks for
actual name.
joining. Let me. So you guys want to see, and if you're watching on Instagram, definitely click on the pin link and come down to YouTube to watch it, because we're gonna show you what the young lady looks like now.
This was a picture
As soon as
of
it
her on the
downloads.
day of the stabbing. Again, I do not know that this was after the stabbing. It probably was before, because after the stabbing, she was caked in blood. I mean, it was a
No,
bloody,
I think it's
bloody
before, because I read somewhere
It's
that
a Nigerian name, and
she
MASAH got it
was
right,
seen
by the
in
way.
the exact same outfit that was bloody on Instagram previously that day. So it was before that she posted on Instagram, and then we saw her in the same outfit, bloody.
So here's the young lady. A picture posted on Courtney's OnlyFans on the day of the
Yeah,
stabbing.
that was another thing I heard. After the stabbing occurred, more content was uploaded to her OnlyFans.
And Houseway.
So I don't know if it was like
Pre-sex.
yeah. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she had already scheduled it to post, but
Sister.
girl.
She obviously has a successful page. I see a chain with, is this diamonds on it?
Yeah, she
So
has a couple
yeah.
million followers online.
Oh wow.
So in his eyes, he was winning. Like he had that girl.
No, and that honestly, that was the thing I wanted to say. Because in his quest to find a white girl, again, he found the most Aryan looking white girl. He found the whitest of white girls. And then I know that he felt like she was a prize.
That was his
So
Caucasian queen.
that was his Caucasian queen. That was his Caucasian queen. It
Okay.
was his Elizabeth Taylor. It was.
Yeah.
She could never be as beautiful as Elizabeth Taylor, but that was his queen.
Yeah.
To be a queen to live forever.
So this is her.
Picture
So if you guys want to know who
perfection.
the young lady was that stabbed this man to death, this is her. So we wanted to share that with you guys. I'm sure her OnlyFans page has gotten so many more subscriptions. I'm sure she's made a lot of money since, and she will continue to make money. But the defense is either self-defense, right? It sounds like, or
Either
insanity.
and
or
or
insanity.
insanity. Like, and the thing, like, I think, the defense attorney. I mean, when you have a situation where it's not a whodunit,
Yeah.
ain't nobody done it but the white girl who was sitting there caked in blood, right? You the one defense attorney is gonna throw things against the wall.
That was to get her out of jail
Like defensive.
and not
Yeah.
to have to release
Yeah.
her name right away. So they were like, okay.
Yeah.
And now they're like, all of a sudden, a neighbor has a report from last week where they had a perfect view into the window,
Yeah.
and they saw Christian, the deceased, abusing her. This has just come out now. It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. So yeah, if I had to guess, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. She's gonna get off. If she doesn't get off, it's gonna be a very low and mitigated sentence. But the thing is, she has the privilege, and I'm not. You guys, y'all knew some of my best friends are white.
But I
But
support you in that.
but she has the privilege of at least making it through the pre-trial process and to a trial,
Yes.
as opposed to him, this Nigerian man in the South. Because do not be fooled, Florida is still the South, right?
Yeah.
Florida's still the South. They still out there wilding in some parts of Florida. So she has the benefit and the privilege of at least making it out of that house alive, and making it out of that situation alive, and making it through that police interaction alive. Let his Nigerian butt have been standing caked in blood on top of this blonde white girl laying down there, and we'd be reading a different story.
100%.
So either way, she's privileged. No matter what she gets, she's still alive.
Let me step in real quick with my mediator duties, because Kelvis has, he's not into what's going on, because
Yeah.
a quick 30-second rundown.
Okay, so quick rundown, Kels. This Instagram model stabbed her Nigerian boyfriend. He used to say
To death.
He definitely mentioned many times on Twitter his preference for white women and his disdain and dislike for black women. So there were people that were coming to his defense when we first found out he was killed, and now those people are no longer in his corner.
Their tea and minding their business.
Exactly.
Finding their own black
And so, and now her defense looks like it's going to be, at least it was insanity of some sort, so she could get out and go to a mental institution. so she didn't have to spend time in jail. And then it looks like it's potentially going to move to self-defense because it's likely that apparently a neighbor has said that they saw him hitting her
just
last week.
Imagine.
And so this is the situation. So that's the story. I think we can just wrap it up there and move on to the next story. But we wanted to give our thoughts on it.
R.I.P. to that man.
R.I.P. to that man.
I hope it was worth the ride.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing.
And to his family,
With
sending
the ride.
all the love. I mean, with the white girl. I hope he had the time of his life.
I hope so.
Well, because his life is over.
I hope it was everything that he wanted when he put out that wanted ad on Twitter.
What I know to be an actual factual fact, if his family is a real African family, is that even if the XXX rated white girl gets away with murder, your generations, generations,
Some juju.
nothing will ever go straight for you again.
The X-rated OnlyFans model
be correct for you
will
again.
be the most famous, the most successful person in all of your generation. That will be a generation's claim to fame. XXX rated OnlyFans model.
Maybe your children's children will be telling their children's children about that their great grandmother that.
The justice system, she might get away with it in that respect, but ain't no getting away with it. And if you know, you know. All bad.
It's all bad. The whole thing. This is from so many different angles. It's all bad. Okay, so there is a little bit of a delay with my internet, but it's all good. Okay, cool. So the next story, before we get into the main story, the thing we want to talk about with is Young, Famous, and African, and like all the details about that show, because we got a lot of opinions.
Much going on.
So much. We did talk about this a couple weeks back. The Will Smith smack heard around the world. We've spoken about it from so many different angles.
I feel like every take has.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of different takes, a lot of hot takes, a lot of interesting ones, a lot of cold takes. Right. Everybody has an opinion. I think the general gist is, Will Smith was in the wrong, right? Overall, we might understand why he did what he did because of feeling like a coward, watching his father beat his mother, et cetera, et cetera. Doesn't excuse his behavior. It happened. Also, the Academy. Oh yeah, not being Tupac, because what would Tupac do, right? That's another thing.
No,
that was my take.
Not funny.
So I mean,
not funny.
It's
poor take.
You laughed. You just laughed. So did Will. So did Will.
Respect that man and laugh.
Yeah, he had a smirk because he felt good about himself afterwards, right?
His suit.
Yeah, he felt good about himself afterwards. But yeah, I mean,
he did.
So many takes. The Academy was wrong for not doing something about it. I think the Academy also lied and said they tried to kick him out. Now they're saying they should have handled it better, and they didn't. They should have removed him. But now the verdict is he has been banned from the Academy for 10 years. I think that's a good partial punishment in terms of being able to go physically. In my opinion, I think he should be banned from voting for life. Like, maybe he can go to the event in the future.
So now that he resigned from the Academy.
So he resigned. Okay.
Remember, he resigned first. That was the first thing.
But he could also decide to unresign, right? I guess he could decide to go back, right?
The Academy was like, we accept, thank you. It was like an hour later.
It was a resignation where your boss has already walked in to let you
and
go.
You like, before you say
break up
anything,
with me.
I quit.
I broke up with you.
So he's already not going to be able to vote. So now they're like, don't even show your face for
10 years. Yeah.
And I think, well, first of all, I think a lot of people think it's extreme, but I feel like they had to do something like this because of the way that it was handled initially. Like, because let me tell you something. Everybody's looking at it from Will Smith's end and whether or not he had the right to do it. But like for a second, think about Chris Rock and how, speaking of generations, how your generations were disgraced on that stage that day. Then you have to sit there and watch the man not be removed, straighten his tie, go sit back down, receive his award, and then go to a party singing, getting jiggy with it like it's all good.
Right.
It was a lot.
It was.
Again,
I mean, the disrespect just kept coming.
People wild out, be it slap another grown black man in front of
The world.
the entire world,
Yeah.
or stab a young black man repeatedly until he dies and you're covered in blood. You have to go sit down somewhere.
Sometimes you have to go sit down.
You got to go have a seat.
I would have left
Jada,
myself personally.
I'm not blaming Jada for this per se. Kenya has very strong opinions about Jada's participation in this. I'm not blaming her, but Jada could have simply, especially after he got his award. I don't know what I would have had May leave before. No, we fought hard for this Oscar.
Get your Oscar.
But after you get your Oscar,
okay, let's
listen.
go. One of these.
One of these.
Let's go. Let's go.
And she actually could do that.
Right
too.
here. Right.
Or at least by the ear. She could have grabbed him by the ear.
She could have grabbed him by the ear.
Eat some ice cream.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
This na. What?
Yeah.
Why?
What?
Yeah.
Why are you smiling? How are you
Are you
dancing? How are you dancing and singing like he didn't deserve it?
He didn't deserve that. He didn't.
He didn't
Correct.
deserve it.
Correct. I agree. So yeah, I mean, look, 10 years. I don't think that's extreme. I think that's enough. You have to make an example of someone like this because of the situation. They obviously can't take away his Oscar because Harvey Weinstein. So that's just not going to happen because Harvey has all his still. And there's a few other people too that I can't think of the names, but just people who've done equally egregious things still have all of their Academy Awards. So that's not going away. But they definitely should have banned him. I think 10 years is a good amount of time. To me, it seems like that was right. Okay, so we got an interesting perspective here that just popped up.
What? Wait, read it.
So Brown Coat Blue says Will was right.
You could be right at the wrong time.
No, you can be right, but respond incorrectly.
Both things can be equally true.
Yeah, two things can be true. Yeah.
No, because let me tell you something. First and foremost, let me be very clear. I'm a huge fan of Will Smith. Who's not? Right? Am I right? Well, now there might be a lot of people who are not. But like
we stand with Will Smith.
I love Will Smith.
I literally cannot wait. I can't wait for his rebound. I'm sitting here like anxious, like,
I can't wait to see what
like
wait. Will can't lose. Will can't be canceled. Like Will is Will. We love Will. I get it. Also, those who know me know if there was an award for most likely to slap somebody, I could be a contender for that. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. Mm-hmm. But I would also know that if I did that in the middle of a ceremony in front of the world, I would be wrong in that moment. Yeah. That's wrong. The man might have deserved to get slapped because you said my wife's name one too many times. Actually, after the fact, I've learned that Chris Rock been getting digged in on Jada from the 90s when she did the Million Woman March.
Hold on, you guys. When you talk about an internet sleuth, y'all got a cheating boyfriend. You got a slutty husband. You got a celebrity who slapped another celebrity, and you need to get the juice.
Mm-hmm. Just give me a few minutes.
Give her
Just
2-3.
So listen, just a little backstory from the 90s. Jada was one of the celebrities that attended the Million Woman March. And, she was, Jada was super like Black Power, like back in the day, super like, like the Lady Tupac or something. So Chris Rock basically did an interview on TV and it was basically like called it like a shopping trip, tried to really make light of what the women were doing out there at the Million Woman March, and like kind of made a joke about Jada being like somebody who was like had a voice at the Million Women March. This is way back in the 90s. We're not even talking about when he clowned her for boycotting the Oscars a few years ago. So it's been a lot of, jest over the years. So I understand Will saying, I understand the sentiment of listen, keep my get it. My thing is, Will, in private, name out your mouth. Will had a lot you were like today. Slap heard around the world.
The slap that will forever be heard around the world.
Watch that video and you were like,
you definitely got like
there was. For 30 years, Smith being like the good guy
in his lane.
He lost his temper. I don't know about that.
Especially because he was cursing from the.
You should have just been doing whatever.
I think if he would have.
Will would have just sat there and.
They do say they kick out hecklers though.
Are we still connected?
Can you guys still hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
It would have been enough for him to just yell out like, hey, chill out, shut up. But he took it too far. And people call it protecting your wife. Jada wasn't physically in danger. And then Jada turned around talking about, you know what, I don't even need protection. So I don't know why y'all are going so hard for this lady. I don't know why y'all are going so hard for this lady that is not going that hard for her husband.
Oh, and therein lies Kenya's issue and many people's issue with Jada, because you guys, we're not going to act like we have not seen the Red Table Talk. I'll tell you that I didn't actually even watch their Red Table Talk conversation, the one where like Will was crying. All I've seen are the memes and little snapshots on Instagram, because my heart wouldn't allow me to look into a 20-year-long marriage on social media, like on TV. Like I just felt like it was so inappropriate. It was so wrong. And many Black people have not forgiven Jada for that. Many Black people have not forgiven Jada for her little situationship, and then having Will talk about it on the Red Table Talk when they should have kept it in the house and in the family. And then just a couple of weeks ago, didn't Will get on an interview with
Oprah?
No, not with Oprah, with Gail.
Oh,
had an interview with Gail talking about there's never been any infidelity in our
Even
marriage.
the way he responded to that, you could tell he was uptight in that.
His eyes looked all crazy.
Well, maybe they talked about it. Maybe they talked about it.
Play on words, but Will and Jada have been so busy jumping through hoops trying to redefine marriage that it's like, of course something like this is going to happen.
Of course,
y'all busy trying to call whatever you got going on a marriage, and it's obviously not working. But you got the nerve to be sitting at a table explaining to us as if it is working. How about you get up from that table, flip that dumbass table over, and go handle your business behind closed doors? How about that?
We don't want to see it. And on behalf of all Black people everywhere, especially those of us who grew up like with the Fresh Prince, and who grew up seeing Jada on Different World, like if you, maybe some of y'all like want to quit Jada because you didn't know her on Different World. Like if you grew up seeing these people like at the beginning of their career to see where they are today, on behalf of all of those Black people, we tired. Will and Jada, we don't want it anymore. We literally want you guys to disappear. Go have some deep, intensive sessions with Iyanla. Go talk to Oprah. Leave Oprah's house.
No.
What?
Iyanla. I don't want them to go talk to Oprah.
Okay, that's fine. Iyanla and TD Jakes to get y'all together.
Okay.
We want Iyanla and TD Jakes to get y'all together before we see you guys opening your mouths again.
Jada, how are you the expert?
How, Jada?
How?
I think it's since when?
That's the thing, since when? And it was literally a matter of branding, and people just bought into it. Because since when has Jada been our leader and our expert and the person that we go to for advice on? Since when?
Jada.
Since when? Jada's always been a little quirky, look different,
look cute.
We loved her. Very Black power, but the one that we go to for advice?
You have never.
All right, let's get to some of the comments. So Wina says 10 years she thinks it's too much, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. I think 10 years you have to make an example out of someone because you can't have people do that again, right?
It can never happen again.
It can't happen again, so you got to make an example. So Kels says, I think Will was wrong, but at the same time, Chris Rock ain't making fun of Denzel's wife nor Jeff Bezos' wife. You got to put some respect on Will's name. He's a GOAT. What do y'all think? I mean, and then I'll turn it over to you two. I think you're right. I mean, he definitely picks and chooses who he goes after, which a lot of comedians do. Mm-hmm. What I like about Ricky Gervais was he was at the Golden Globes. He went at everybody. He talked about people in the audience. He talked about all of them and how they were hanging out with Harvey Weinstein. They were cozying with him, all of that. He's like, you guys are on your high horses. I loved what Ricky Gervais did. Now, I feel like if you're going to do it, you got to keep the same energy whether people are there or not, you know, and it doesn't matter who they are. If there's something to talk about that makes sense, then you should be able to do it with everyone. You can't just pick certain people. And so in my opinion, I feel like you're probably right. He doesn't, I mean, to be honest with you, he was light on everyone in the audience.
Yeah.
When he went hard at Jada, she wasn't there in person when he went hard. But my belief system is if you're going to do that, you got to do that when the people are there in the audience because you have to be willing to face the consequences after it's over. Yeah. Jada, I know, would have had a conversation with him after that was over in 2016 had she been there, right? So I think that's the problem I have with him is that when he does these, or not just him, anybody who does these kinds of things, is when they do it when the people aren't there in person. They do it when they're not there. I never could respect that. So that's my viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, Will Smith, like we gotta be honest, people been trying Will Smith. People been testing
increasingly more
increasingly, and that's why it's escalated. But why? Listen, y'all know that there was a time when nobody would dare say anything about Will and Jada. They were the ultimate couple goals for years and years and years. And then what happened?
Before B and J, it was Will and Jada.
It was Will and Jada, but their relationship was mysterious. It was very, very private.
There was a lot of rumors too.
There were rumors, but they were only that. They were just that. They were rumors. Somewhere along the line, Jada got the idea to invite everybody in. Like, oh, enough of the rumors. Let's give you the truth, the real truth.
We don't want the truth.
We don't need the truth.
We didn't ask
for the truth. We were just fine not knowing anything. And when we didn't know anything, y'all were couples goals. Now that you showed us everything, y'all are chaos. Y'all are couples chaos.
Y'all are couples chaos. Y'all are a disaster. Y'all are a train wreck. Y'all are an embarrassment.
This is toxic. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not right. I want no parts of it. I don't want your advice on how to do this thing. Stop. So yeah. There was a time when there wouldn't be anything said about Will and Jada, but again, Jada with her bright ideas and her being the head of the household decided she made that executive decision to let the world in on the Red Table Talk.
Yeah,
she initiated the chant at the end, "Bad marriage for life."
Yeah, but you know, August is the one who put it out there. August was asked about it by Lorianne.
Because there was an it to put out there. Because there was an
it was Angela Yee. Oh no, for sure, right? For sure.
There was an it to put out there.
Yeah.
And the it was that he was her son's homeboy.
Yeah, who was dealing with some
addiction and mental illness.
Yeah, mental illness.
She was his mentor turned love and friend.
Yeah, that was wild.
He had the right to put it out there.
The toxicity runs deep.
Yeah.
Runs deep. And then the nerve and the audacity for somebody who slept with her son, stepdaddy friend situation to come sit at a table and try to normalize it in front of us. If you don't have a
my opinion is that I think that he was all for it in the beginning, and at some point he wasn't. Because to me, I think, you know, because they both have mentioned that they both had done other things.
There's a way to do
things. His people.
Did his things ever turn into this?
No, they never say anything. They never say anything.
And also, okay, Joe, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. The one thing I have heard about men is that you can do anything to a man, to a husband, to a boyfriend, but embarrass him and emasculate him in public. I don't
That's
think
true.
that marriages bounce back from that. Like, I think when people talk about, oh, it's money and sex, money and sex, money and sex. No, it's also emasculation. Like, I don't think marriages bounce back from public humiliation.
Especially with somebody like Will too.
And it's happening repeatedly. Let's not forget about the Red Table Talk where J-Lo told, what was the white actress lady name? Jada told her how it's kind of hard to have sex with her husband sometimes. Like there's sex like girl.
Yeah.
How many times are you gonna embarrass this man?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
man.
a lot.
Shut up.
Talking.
All right.
Anyway.
We're almost an hour in and we haven't gotten to the main topic. So let's just do this last thing that Kel said and then we'll move on to the main topic. There was 3 stories, right? It was the Nigerian guy, there was Will, and was there something else we want to talk about besides young, famous in Africa? Oh, SCOTUS. Black SCOTUS. So real quick, Kel says the joke wasn't even funny. G.I. Jane's like 25 years old. Yeah, I felt like that too. I didn't think the joke was funny.
It wasn't funny.
So I'm still trying to figure out, was it written, be it backstage, or was he riffing because he was going around and he was at Will?
Chris Rock has. I think you get to a level in your career where you're given a little leeway. And so they'll give you like, okay, they might say, tell a couple jokes. They might even say, tell a joke about Jada. Because honestly, and I haven't heard anybody say this, but I think what made Will mad was not even the joke. It's what happened after Jada rolled her eyes and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then Chris Rock was like, come on, guys. Now he's starting to really clown them when he's like, oh, that was a nice one. As if there were others that he could have said, or there's others that he might say in the future.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said that was a nice one, you hear him say, uh-oh, because that's when Will got up. So I think really it wasn't even the initial joke, because Will laughed. Like everybody saw, like Will was going to give you your professional response, which in that
the uncomfortable laugh.
Yeah. Okay, you got your laugh. But then you milked the moment, and then you said, come on. That was a nice one, and that's what set him. It triggered TF out of Will, and he got up out of his seat.
Well, because it was his night to shine, right?
It was his night. And you're trying to make a joke out of me, and like Kel said, he's one of the greatest of all times. You're not going to make a joke out of me.
Yeah.
We're sorry. Hey, Will, we still love you.
Hey, Will, listen. I'm still a huge fan.
Jada, stop talking.
Jada, shut up.
You guys run on over to go see TD Jakes. I know he's already called y'all. I'm sure Iyanla at your head about coming in for sessions. Y'all been missing sessions over the last several years.
Talk about whatever that lady is supposed to be fixing your marriage on the Red Table Talk. I don't believe it.
I saw TD Jakes asking
Denzel.
Was it Denzel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's the one person that can ask Denzel about it. So that was interesting. All right, that's
wait. Did Jada and Will actually do the Red Table Talk? I'm so sorry.
No.
Afterwards?
I'm not sure if that was real. They said that they were going to talk about it on the Red Table.
Okay.
And
I didn't see Facebook promoting it. I don't think
that better be fake news.
Yeah, Facebook would have probably even put a budget behind that.
Better be fake
Facebook would have. I don't think that's actually happening.
Okay.
And maybe it is, but I don't know.
I was going to ask if anybody has seen it.
Okay, so with that, SCOTUS pick. So do we want to do this really quickly and then get into everything? Because, this is huge, right? The first time a black woman, I should say, not a woman of color, because Justice Sotomayor is on the Supreme Court. Don't get me to ask saying all the rest of them. Amy Coney Barrett, it's another woman. Don't really like her too much, but apparently she was well loved by those around her, left or right wing. You have Clarence Thomas, that guy. He is a black man. He was brought in.
He is.
So he, for those who don't know, he replaced Thurgood Marshall. So
can you imagine?
Bush Sr. had an open spot. I'm gonna put a black guy in the place.
But not just any black guy.
He picks this one.
What y'all thought?
Oh man. So exactly, it was Bush Sr., of course. But fast forward to a little over 30 years later, and now we have a black SCOTUS who is obviously the most qualified, at least of most, if not all, of the people on the court now, because she's been a clerk not only for federal judges, but also clerk for Supreme Court justice cases for a period of time longer than anybody else who's on the Supreme Court has. So she literally has firsthand experience in that space. I think maybe the only person who would have had more experience than her was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but she's no longer here. Amy Coney Barrett was the one who replaced her. So now you have RBG.
Notorious RBG.
So now, and she's been replaced by what's the $3 acronym for KBJ now. So obviously it's a big deal. I think Biden probably did it. Look, it was probably done because there's so much scrutiny that was given to Barack Obama for not putting a Black woman on the Supreme Court. However, she is more qualified than anybody else that's there. So when it comes to a Black person being put into these kinds of positions, they always have to be extra qualified, right? Like, she's probably the best possible person that could be on the Supreme Court right now. It should be interesting because it's still it's a 6-3 majority, right? Right wing versus left wing. So it really doesn't change much in terms of what's going to happen when things come in front of the Supreme Court. But it's good to have that kind of representation for all the Black girls around the world who don't know that they can be that, but now they can see it and know that they can be. So that's my thoughts there. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts.
I mean, not too many. Just obviously a very proud moment because she's a blickety Black.
And that's Black, y'all.
Justice Ketanji Onyeka Brown Jackson.
Even the number of syllables
is
in her
giving
name.
very much Black.
Yeah.
The number of vowels in her name. I like it.
Listen, I'm not into politics at all, so I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie. But it's a very important moment in history, and I'm very, very proud.
I can tell you, as a Black woman lawyer, she is the epitome of all of our dreams. I mean, the absolute epitome of all of our dreams. And when you think about the fact, I mean, to put this in context, because we talk about, slavery was 400 years ago. Slavery was 400 years ago. Up until the 1980s, many bar associations being the governing bodies of attorneys in states, many bar associations did not admit women. Up until the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, that's when you started seeing bar associations start to admit women. So in cities where you see the Black Bar Association of such and such and the Women's Bar Association of such and such, it was because for centuries, women could not join some of these bar associations. So for a Black woman to be able to ascend to the highest court in the nation, I mean, it's an enormous deal. It's an enormous deal for all of us who have gone through law school and gone through the ridicule in law school, gone through the gaslighting in law school from professors and colleagues, who've gone through the disrespect, the microaggressions, the overt aggressions, overt racism, have practiced in counties and in courthouses where the judge and the bailiffs correct you because you're sitting at counsel's table, which is always in front of the bar, right? The bar is an actual, in most courtrooms, it is a bar. Everybody without a law degree to the back. Everybody with a law degree to the front, right? And so to have even, situations repeatedly where some of us in courtrooms where we're not known and in courthouses where we're not known be asked and be told that this is counsel's table only. Well, thank you, Einstein. I'm counsel, right? To have to repeat that all the time to bailiffs and to judges and to have her ascend to the highest court in the nation and to go down in history. It's amazing. She's the epitome of so many of our dreams. But most importantly, what she symbolizes to me is so much more than just being a Black woman lawyer who has achieved the highest heights in the legal field. What she is somebody who symbolizes breaking yet another barrier. Doesn't matter what the field is. She has broken and shattered a barrier that has been 233 years in the making. 233 daggone years. Y'all could not find a qualified, competent, preferred Black woman. It took you 233 years to find one. Well, we gave you one. And she's killing all of y'all. I can tell you that the only parts of the hearing, full transparency, that I've seen are the little snippets and the GIFs and the clips on social media. I could not allow it into my spirit because I have seen confirmation hearings and I know how wildly disrespectful they can be.
Yes,
They're
wild disrespectful, and there was no way that I was going to be able to stomach that. I didn't have to
all the way through. When she was being confirmed and applauded, several Republicans just walked out.
I mean, she won by a narrow majority. It was a narrow majority. To think that 47 people saw a resume like that, history like that, trial experience like that, clerking experience like that. The word clerk, it doesn't say, you might think, she's a store clerk. To clerk for a federal judge or a Supreme Court judge, when they write those opinions that you guys can't even read the words and the citations are all confusing, and even lawyers, we have to keep on like going to a thesaurus to figure out what the word means. Those are clerks that write those decisions most of the time. Very few Supreme Court judges or federal court judges write all of their own opinions. They have clerks. Those people are geniuses. Their brains operate at a completely different frequency than all the other lawyers who already, we're more highly educated than 99% of the United States. So to be a clerk for a Supreme Court justice, like your brain, you firing on cylinders that the rest of us like did not even form. Like it didn't even form in the embryo. Mm-hmm. So this woman is a brilliant genius. And I applaud her. I support her. I stand with her. And we love her.
Yay. And there it is. There it is. I definitely couldn't have said it better myself. So, all right. So, I mean, that's KBJ. I'm just going to do that. So let's talk about young, famous, and African.
First of all, who knew that we needed this in our lives?
I didn't know, but I
hoped for it. But man, thank you, TV guys.
Yeah, I will tell you, a friend of mine had been watching the show, and she asked me if I'd seen it. I hadn't, and then we were supposed to meet up last weekend, but I was dead tired, so I canceled on you guys. But I said we got to do this again. We have to sit down and talk about this show because when you guys
notes from the show.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad you have.
I'm so glad. That's what I've been
looking
down on my phone for. I've been screenshotting. You know, I live for screenshots. I've been screenshotting so much about the show.
Yeah, so I took a ton of notes on each episode. So I went through most of the episodes. I think there was how many episodes were there? 6?
Something like that. I want to say 6, 7.
6 or 7, something like that. Okay. So in the last live that I did last Monday, I talked about the things about the show that I liked or didn't like from a high level. I think what we want to do here is dive a little bit deeper into some of the relationships and some of the things that we saw in terms of infidelity, having children outside of a relationship, and how that has how the relationships have continued post that, right? So you have Diamond, who is a Diamond Platinums, who is the biggest East African artist in Africa, right? And then you have Two-Face, who has the song African Queen.
And it's Tubaba.
It's Tubaba.
Because who even knew it was Tubaba until the show came
out. Right, Tubaba. Innocent is his real name. But yeah, so those two folks had completely different outcomes with similar circumstances, semi-similar circumstances. So, but anyway, there's other stuff going on too, because there's another rapper on there who's dating Vic Mensa, and that's talked about for the first 3 episodes, but then she's flirting with Diamond, whose ex-wife, it hasn't been introduced yet, but she ends up getting introduced. So the first episode is a dinner where Annie, who's Tubaba's wife, is expressing how she feels.
So much came out in the first episode.
And she was crying and she has something to drink, you know. So when you drink a little bit,
that's what that was.
I think that had something to do with it.
Emotional.
I think she got really emotional. She started talking about, and she was talking to
a complete stranger.
Robert Mugabe's, right? Is that his name? Mugabe, the former president of Zimbabwe. His son is stepson. I'm gonna circle back. Okay. To why that's she was. Oh right, yes, stepson, or at least he took care of his stepkids, right? But she's telling him, and then the host of the party steps in and is hearing his. But to hear her tell the story, so she basically met him.
Who's Mugabe's stepson?
Say his name?
Andile.
Yes, yeah. So they went to the grave, and that was the whole scene where they're at the grave talking about when he missed the train ride.
Right.
That was the whole thing. So, and I didn't know until I saw the picture on the grave, and it said his name underneath it. I was like, oh, okay.
I saw that scene, but I didn't actually pay attention.
You didn't see that? Okay. So that first episode, she's telling her story, and it gives you context for her whole way of being from the jump. She's telling, basically, she's known him since before he was who he was, before the thing, and before she had any kids with him, before he asked her to marry him, but they were together. He sold his royal oats once he became be Two-Face after African King comes out. She mentions that he has 4 kids. Outside
Seven.
7.
Oh, you mean
total?
outside of her?
Yeah, 4 kids.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 outside.
5.
Okay.
5.
5 outside of her.
She actually gave different numbers in the series.
Okay.
Let me know I'm the only one that heard that because I was very confused.
Yeah.
She was like, when it happened with the second set of kids, but like at one point in time, she said 5, and then another point in time, it sounded like she said like there were like 2 or 3 other kids, but there
Isn't
were
that 5 altogether?
5 outside of her.
Yeah.
He has 7 children to get all together. She has 2 of them.
Yeah.
She has 2 daughters. He has 5 other children.
So that was her story, which was wild to hear. And she gets invited down. She's Nigerian. She gets invited down to South Africa by her friend who is a fashion designer, right? And he's a designer for some of the other characters on the show. He's done some designing for them. And so some of the other characters are Mugabe's stepson. What was his name again?
Andile.
Mm-hmm.
Andile, who that guy's grimy.
He's a
grimy guy.
So that's so funny. I did not know that he was Mugabe's stepson.
So he starts the hitting on Diamond's ex-wife. Diamond is hitting on a rapper who's dating Vic Mensa, and she actually goes shopping with Diamond to shop for cars. But Diamond's ex-wife, or is it his ex-girlfriend? It's ex-wife, right? They were married.
Ex-girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend. Okay. His ex-girlfriend is Boss Lady. What's her name?
Zari the Boss Lady.
Zari the Boss Lady. She comes in a couple episodes later. But you see how there's all these different relationship dynamics that are going on. Diamond, obviously, he explains his infidelities. Zari just explains how it impacted her when you watch the show. Diamond explains that there was a girl that he knew from back in the day. She was a video model, as far as I understand. And he impregnated her while he was dating Zari and had kids with Zari while she was in South Africa and he was back home in Uganda. Is he Ugandan? Diamond is Tanzania.
Diamond is Tanzanian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's back home in Tanzania, however you decided to say it. So that's like the overall thing. The main thing I can say is that Annie stayed with Two-Face. Zari broke up with Diamond. So 2 completely different outcomes, but very similar circumstances. And I thought it'd be interesting to have these conversations with you two, being as though we all grew up in the U.S. And in the U.S., divorce rate is much higher. And as far as I understand, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, women initiate more divorces in the U.S. than men, probably because of infidelity. And I don't see that happening too much on the continent. And so with that, I think it's just an open forum. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the relationships, on everything.
Let me confirm first before
Okay.
you have a thought. So he has 7 children. He had 1. Okay, so he met Annie first before anybody.
Yes.
They knew each other first.
Yep.
He had a baby by Sumba, I think. But she put the baby on somebody else and married that other man.
Right.
Then when that baby was born, the baby came out looking exactly like Two-Face. And so that skytied that marriage. So when that marriage skytied, now she went to go live with Two-Face. They had another child. So that's the first set. Okay.
Wait.
No. None of
the more
no.
famous one.
Two-Face.
This is the one that people don't really know.
Okay.
There's Pearl, who was the one that
That's the one everybody knows.
Yeah,
So,
Pearl's the one that's the
he
big
broke
one.
up with the initial baby mama because then he's now getting Pearl pregnant, who had 3 kids for him. The second set was the 3 kids, and then the third set was the 2 he has with his actual wife, which were the last of his 7
Let
children.
me please clarify. These are not any of them twins and triplets.
No.
When we say sets, there was a pregnancy, you have the baby. You have the pregnancy, you have the baby. You have the pregnancy, you have another baby.
Yeah.
So imagine Annie, my dear, who met him when she was like, what, 14 or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something in her teens. Loved him. Probably was sitting there eating dry gari with him.
Oh, definitely.
Doing all of the things with him.
Mm-hmm.
As a teenager, had to sit here and watch him have the second set of kids. And she says that on the show, like the first set of kids, That was wild. Then the second set of kids came around, and that's why she was sobbing like a baby.
She did, when she said the second set of kids, I was like,
how can a man have
Second set of kids?
children and you still call yourself his woman?
Well, let me tell you why.
he married.
I've done my investigations.
Mhm.
So yes, on Wikipedia, she is the only spouse. You know, Wikipedia, they will blow your spot, right? Like they will literally be like ex-spouse from like married, date to marriage, date to divorce, date to marriage, date to divorce. Annie Idibia is the only Mrs.
Krista
Baba.
thinks your eating dry Gary comment was hilarious.
That's what they were doing, y'all. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing.
No narrative, what's
in
up?
the streets of Lagos.
Yes.
So she is the only Mrs. Idibia. But also on Wikipedia, it talks about what Tubaba's and networks is. And let me be very clear, Let me be very clear. I have now looked at everybody's net worth because the thing I'm most confused about, Joe, is what you said, which is how these people got their money. I want you to actually stop fronting and stunting. I don't want to see any more train trips. I want each and every one of you guys to do a TED Talk. How I started my life in a village in Africa or in Lagos, Abuja, wherever, Tanzania, and how I then became a multi-millionaire in US dollar currency. I want to see that path. So Tubaba, because I was like, Tubaba, like, first of all, didn't even know that was your name. I'm still calling you Two-Face Idibia.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still thinking that African Queen is like the only song that you ever had, and that hasn't been in rotation since 1984. So I'm trying to figure out why everybody keeps on stunting you. Whatever. But then I looked him up, his net worth, my Negro, $37 million.
Because African Queen, like, it was one song, but it was
but he had it in the chokehold.
It was the song of life. This was before Afro beats were everywhere. African Queen was the song.
If they played it right now, would I get up and I shake my tuba a little bit? I would a little bit.
What? African Queen is
my African Queen.
Anthem status.
It is anthem status.
It is.
He deserves that. So $37 million. He took his little African Queen royalties and he tripped it and flipped it and flipped it and flopped it. So big ups to him. So I would submit. On the other hand, I've also Wikipedia'd Annie because Annie, her intro, right? Her intro was, you will know who Annie Idibia is. Everybody calls me Two-Face's wife. Everybody calls me Tubaba's wife. But I'm an actress. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a businesswoman. This, I'm a that.
Right.
I looked up. It doesn't say what Annie's net worth is. Her own individual net worth. So I would submit to you that Tubaba, after he got done running through his first baby mama and his second baby mama and left them with children and massive amounts of child support, he went back to the love of his life, and she was just like, anyway, that's $7 million. Let us be going. I'm not gonna lie, honestly, that kind of made, because as an African woman, where in God's green earth were you going to find another multimillionaire?
I mean, it's true. Like, have all parts of your pride and dignity, or have some of this money.
No. Like, let's be honest.
No,
you guys, like, in Africa, and particularly, I'm not Nigerian, but my God, the way you people love,
especially when you know, like, you're the one that has this man's heart, like some kind of way.
The way you
like, no nerve says no, ma'am. But see,
I feel you.
Okay,
I feel you.
No, you're saying that because
they're not. Do
you not live in a place where you have access to dollars? Now I want you to take those dollars, divide them by 10,000 naira, and then that will give you the equivalency of like the likelihood of coming across a Negro who has a fortune in the multi-millions of dollars.
I'll be right back.
If you have a fortune in the multi-millions of dollars and that's the money you claim and you live in Africa, you're actually in real life a gazillionaire. And your spending power in Nigeria is a kabillion to the 10th millionaire. He's insanely wealthy. You might as well have said this was Jeff Bezos. So let me just say it in terms that you understand. Maybe 37 million, that don't sound like a whole lot because we live in a country where Jeff Bezos are just walking around, right? Jeff Bezos, you two knew each other when you were 14, 15. He went on tour. He got some people pregnant. Jeff Bezos has enough money that we can split that money 3, 4, 5, 6 ways if we have to. We'll be splitting the money. And he married her. I would say that I don't doubt that he loves her.
No, the one thing was apparent was that they actually do really love each other.
I don't doubt that he loves her, and I don't doubt that she loves him. What I have an issue with is there's a thin line between love and toxicity and codependency. Me, myself, my own MASAH, me, having been married and divorced and like dogged out by My first husband to some extent, but the second husband was he was just a rabid animal. Like, and a broke one at that, not a $37 million, like, I mean, not rich enough to be dogging me like the way that he was dogging me in these streets. Like, having been through that, I cannot imagine circling back around. Like, I can't imagine circling back around like that. But then, you know, listen,
Girl.
She loves him. That is the one thing I will say. She loves her husband.
I saw her lick his face when he showed up.
She licked his face multiple times.
She licked his face when he showed up.
That's her bae. That's her boo. She waited years.
But there was history. There's history too, which you can kind of understand.
Lots of history.
But I mean, yeah, I mean,
I'm not judging.
I think maybe her identity is tied into her identity was probably tied into this relationship,
Very much
right?
so.
Of course it was.
And look, she wouldn't be the first person, high profile person, to stay with someone after finding out that they were cheating. You know, obviously it does happen pretty frequently, even in the United States, even amongst those who have their own finances. You could think about someone like Gabrielle Union. You could think about someone like Lala did for a second, then she ended up leaving. Beyonce, right? Many people do it. And some people look at it as strong, as being strong, especially a lot of men will say that woman is strong.
A lot of African men, that's what they love to say.
Yeah, she is
They'll
strong.
call you strong. And if
She's
an
a strong
African man
woman.
calls you patient, that means he's
If an African man calls you patient,
if they say, "Oh, that lady is patient,"
he has a baby on the way.
Oh,
Wait a
if an African
second.
man
Wait a
calls you
second.
patient,
yes.
Joe.
Yes.
If an African
If he
man,
makes it a
if
point
he
to
says-
call you patient,
and if he says it like in your wedding speech, sister, get up. It's not too late to get an annulment.
if he says it in your wedding speech and I'm in the audience, I'm
Get
like,
up.
I already know what's been going on.
Get up. There is your
Patient.
mate. Your mate is
Right.
actually your bridesmaid.
Patient.
If he says it at your wedding, I love her because she's patient.
Because she's so patient.
Believe that your maid of honor
Yeah.
is also your mate. Those her children are actually your stepchildren. An African man with the words patience, that's actually triggering.
Those are
Patient
trigger
and
words.
strong. So yes, Annie is absolutely patient and strong. And I'm not here to judge anybody's marriage. Like honestly, that's the thing. Like, I'm a divorce attorney. I'm a divorce attorney. I have seen people who have lived through crazy marriages for decades, and it'll be one little thing that's like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like that is their thing that they cannot stand.
Sure.
That's why I'm not here to judge what like about what Will and Jada have done.
Yeah.
And the demise of their public perception and our obviously faulty view and uninformed view of their marriage is that they have like disgraced themselves.
Yeah.
And they have let us
That's what I
down
don't like
because at the end of the day, there are enough broken homes, there's enough toxicity, there's enough tension between black men and black women that we need people to look up to. So now at this point, I'm basically it's just Denzel and them. It's just Denzel and Angela Angela Bassett, Courtney B. Vance,
And
Denzel,
who are they? The ones
and
who
his
keep
wife.
quiet about the relationship.
You'll never hear nothing. You'll never hear nothing about them. So that's the only thing I dislike. Whatever Annie has decided to do, whatever she's decided to be at, because that's what we say in Sierra Leone. She don't, that she's a Beatrice. You don't. She has bared the pain. Like she has. Is bared, did we say that in English? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay, she's
it is.
bared.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in
Grin and bear it.
You don't bear.
Grin and
You
bear
don't
it.
bear. She's a Beatrice. I applaud her because she knows what she wants. She has gotten what she wants. I hope that it continues to work out for her because what I would hate and where my heart was hanging this entire first season was just like, Jesus, God, please.
What?
Please, oh, don't let yet another.
No, because I'm not convinced.
Don't let yet another child.
That's the thing.
Don't let yet another woman.
I'm not convinced.
Don't allow another
because the
woman
more
to come out of
it's
the
a
woodwork.
very thin line to say the things that you've done in the past, I've forgiven you for it. And him taking that as thank you for forgiving me and not thank you for allowing me.
Right.
Thank you for allowing me. Thank you because you know me. Because he was even saying things on this lady, like she's patient. I know that she loves me. Like, it's giving possibly could happen again. It's giving maybe another set is coming.
In my opinion, it's giving toxicity because this is the thing. You know, I'm joking about the money. It's not really a joke because.
It's not a joke because that's probably a huge contributing factor to why
he wouldn't be having 5 kids on her. That's a fact.
Come on now.
Well,
ain't that much love in the world.
Well, especially because she had a career, right? So I think, because I think where he is and what he has, if he was not there, I think you're right. I think because the means are it's not because of the finances. Because look, no narrative is saying is your sanity, peace of mind, and mental health worth it? She licked his face and I cringed. She has no
Girl,
identity.
the face licks were a bit much.
Listen,
I don't think it's worth it.
Listen, no narrative. I think that you live in the US, right? Like it is, I mean, honestly, it's a very cultural thing. Let's take the money out of it. Let's just completely put the money to the side. As an African girl, right? Because you always a girl to your parents. As an African girl, to go to my parents for not one, but 2 divorces, to open up my mouth and verbalize that I couldn't take it anymore. You don't know the answer. Out of nowhere, unsolicited WhatsApp messages. Man of God that I got hooked up with in Atlanta, a man of God in Lagos, man of God in Freetown. You don't know the people that just start out of the woodwork because marriage is the epitome. As far as African, let me just speak for Sierra Leoneans. You know, I don't know all Africans, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw Nigerians in there too. It's like for a woman, the family and being a wife, like that should be your ultimate goal. There is no goal to be an Oprah. That is not even a thing. To be an Oprah, to be an independent INDEPEN, that means that is nothing. That's not even it's not even a concept like in African culture. And when you're married, the marriages, they're for your family. They're for the joining of 2 families, right? So when you get divorced, like that is painful to the entire family. It is shameful to the entire family. It is embarrassing and hurtful to the entire family. It doesn't matter how much your parents love you. Like everybody came. We were at Bada. We've now tied Gele. We have Machu. We even still have your Ashobi from that wedding that we went to. Then also your traditional marriage. Then also your white wedding. And then you're coming to tell us with your mouth that you're getting a divorce when we've all said yes. No,
I get it. No, it does concern me though, because although we don't prioritize sanity, peace, and mental health in African culture, watching it and knowing the importance of these things, it makes me kind of concerned for her. Because and then after watching it, you know, you got to go and do the Googles and, you know, do all my research. I'm like, then hearing all the stories, there have been like scandals popping out. It's like
even recent.
Exactly.
Since they stopped shooting.
I'm not convinced.
Since they stopped shooting.
So then I'm like, is it really worth it? I'm concerned about her. I really am.
So I watched the show. So okay, I did not Google that today. So I watched the show. Immediately as I'm watching the show and I see the facelets, I was like, girl, let me go ahead and fast forward to how this is really going to end. And so nothing had been up yet. So now you're telling me that in the last 2 weeks, recent scandals have now been posted.
It was actually 7 months ago.
There's no break. There's no break. It's like, okay,
break.
They did this renewal of the vows.
Right. The show culminated with the renewal of the vows. That was the end of the show.
There's never been a break.
A break where you were like really like, no, it's been progressive. Like you said, just a few months, within the past few months, there have been things. Scandal, back and forth with baby mamas.
I would say it appeared to me, and this is on the outside looking, how could you know from a TV show? It appeared to me that she loved him more than he has shown love to her over the last 20 years. She was more dedicated to him and more emotionally attached to him than he has demonstrated for sure over the last 20 years. Her identity is wrapped up in him. His has absolutely nothing at all to do with her. In fact, his identity, I would say, is more tied to the second baby mama.
That daggone second baby mama.
I know she gave her the flux.
And because in my you know, internet sleuth thing, I go on the second baby mama's Instagram.
Pop it.
I'm looking at the pictures, like going back, like Subaba has liked the picture and it's like a selfie, and he's now liked the picture. Then like the next picture, Annie has liked the second baby mama. So now you have to be dragged into him acting like it's all good with this girl, but you still have a feeling something's going on. I think one of the last scandals was he went to the U.S. and she was accusing him of staying at her house when they supposed to be taking the kids to Disney World, and he was staying at her house for extended stay. So it's like these things are like constantly going on. And this Peril chick, it's like you can tell, you know who's
messy.
You can tell. Look at some like,
girl, you a hot mess.
She got something to prove.
So I would say this. I don't think that their story is going to end in the culmination of this beautiful ceremony. I do think there's going to be more to their love story, and I don't know that it's going to be all good. I do think that the way she was crying, it is clear to me because, okay, no narrative. To your point, we're being facetious about the $37 million. I wish a Negro would.
My sanity and peace are top priority.
Because I have access to my own dollars, so you could never. 5 whole kids.
5 kids.
5 whole kids.
5, and I knew you first. I was the first to meet your black. And
Yeah.
you had 5
it's terrible. But you know, I hope that she heals, because it is apparent by the volume of tears.
Oh man,
the consistent flow of tears that she has not done her work, as Iyanla would say. So again, I would encourage you to contact Iyanla Vincent. You can Google her and have a talk, because you obviously have not done your work.
That's why it's giving toxicity, because it's like, but you're still hurt, and then there's still things going on. But then we're supposed to just celebrate.
Be a happy blended family.
Which, congratulations again on the and by the way, Annie is so beautiful. Like, her smile is just
so natural, so beautiful,
so beautiful,
yes.
so beautiful.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts on the whole thing, right? Because just what a no narrative is saying. Because I understand, especially those coming from a place. Because I realized I'm like a super lefty liberal. That's just my thing, right? I just am that. I lived in LA, and it was like I was in that little whole filter bubble of lefty, liberal, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of like the oil and gas industry. One of my really good friends and one of my cousin of mine worked at Exxon, and another friend of mine worked at a chemical plant, and before that worked at an oil refinery. And I spent every waking moment of my discussions with them telling them to get out of that industry, go work for Tesla or something, right? And I got here. And I then got a Ghana salary, and it was supposed to be a high-end Ghana salary. And I'm not gonna say what careers I considered that I told you to before we went live.
Oh God!
But I considered that.
That was when you came to Ghana?
No.
That was when you came to Ghana.
Yeah. This is like 6 months ago.
Joe.
Yeah.
No. We're not gonna say what Joe was. The strange things he's about to do for a piece of change.
So there were things that I was considering that I would never have considered ever previously. But because when you're in that situation and you have so many people depending on you, you have so many things that you have to do. The thing is that we take care of our whole families. And a lot of times these women, especially when
that's a huge factor.
When they get married, that's them now having to take care of their whole family.
But speaking of which, another scandal has come out with Annie's brother has now basically like imagine, like, it's her. I don't need any testimony from anybody in her family. You married to $37 million Tubaba, you're definitely responsible for taking care of
the family, the whole family.
So now the brother has come out and made a video basically acting like Annie's abandoned him and blah, blah, blah. Going on and on this video. Like, I'm watching looking like this look like some BS. But he's definitely trying to tap into this clout that she's gotten with the show. Mm-hmm. But basically like completely like betrayed her and threw her under the bus. And her response is just like, my brother, like, why? How can you? Have you ever paid for anything in your life? Your wife, your children, everything I paid for. And I'm like, case closed. I already know Annie's paying for this.
Yeah.
And it's a huge factor. Like, to walk away means your family off. You're cutting your family off basically from their income as well.
And so for me, that is this was so triggering. I mean, honestly, like the Pepper Soup page is not jumping, or I think it's legally MASAH, right? And so the Pepper Soup show, the little 4 videos that we recorded like over a year ago, they're not recently updated. But marriage and a little snapshot of my first marriage. Like, it is extremely painful and debilitating in many ways. Like, to be somebody who believes in monogamy, thinks that you're in a monogamous relationship, a marriage nonetheless. When you have children, when you have a whole family like looking up to you, proud of you because like you've taken the step, again, the pinnacle of like an African woman is like to get married and to be a wife. Like, it is crippling to find out that you've been cheated on. But 5 whole children, I'm concerned for Annie. Like,
I'm telling you,
I am. I'm
like, it was like you watch it like, oh, like she really loves him. He loves her in his own way, but it's not. It's like almost like watching a car wreck. Like, I don't know if it's safe though.
Yeah, and she's definitely. What's the word I'm trying to look for? That what's her name called her. She didn't like it, but she's insecure, right? She's insecure about her.
Not be?
And it comes out in different ways. Yeah, Zari said that. Now look, this probably was a 3-hour dinner. it's, you know, we got a 2-minute clip, so we don't know exactly how it went. But of course, the way the editing looks, it looks like Annie overreacted, right?
It does, maybe. But
Right.
it also looks like the minute Tubaba walked in, Zari then like pulled him to the
Well, I
side.
mean, on the phone when he calls and
Oh,
she's
when he
like
calls.
she because that's what led to the whole
Oh, yeah,
conversation.
say hi to Zari, boss
He was
lady.
saying,
Say hi
yeah.
to Zari, boss lady. Say hi to Zari, boss lady. Yeah. And then Annie's just like, how do you know my husband?
It was a little bit of insecurity, but then Zara also on the other hand, you peeped it and then you were like,
She
that's
dug
my
in.
angle.
Mhm.
Yeah, you dug into it. You dug into it. Because naturally any woman is gonna want to know, like, oh, you know my husband? How do you know each other? Annie, like, she couldn't really hide the little sauce because she's a spicy Nigerian girl.
She's very
So
spicy.
she wanted to be like,
Very spicy.
my man, how do you? But she dialed it back and was just like,
Right.
so how do you know my husband?
She's very
And
spicy.
then Zara was like, oh, so she has a problem. And she took it to another because she too is insecure. Because only an insecure woman is going to do that. I would be like, oh girl, it's from wherever it was.
Absolutely.
Just because as a woman to woman, you probably are curious as to how I know your
Yeah.
husband and why he's saying say hi to me. It's because, and then it's just squashed. But she drug it out,
Oh,
and,
no.
that's why it blew up.
Zari was definitely baiting Annie.
Yeah,
Zari was
she's
baiting
also
Annie the
insecure.
entire show. She was insecure and she's messy.
Because she also
She's
got
been
cheated
through
on,
it too.
like you said.
So let's move into that. Wait, sorry. Before we get to that one, there are a couple of comments that we just want to get to. So no narrative, just to follow up on what you said, and then we're gonna go into Sawina's really quickly. But no narrative says, I am American, I understand that, but when do you say enough is enough? My family is not married to my partner. He shouldn't have a free pass to emotionally terrorize that woman. Why is that okay?
But that's an American viewpoint. And we
all agree with you.
I was
We
born
agree.
in Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm as American as they come, sort of. Right? So I completely understand. Listen, I got divorced 2 times. So I obviously prioritize my mental health and my sanity. I obviously know how to leave a toxic situation. What I'm saying is just the fact that you would actually take those your fingers and type, my family is not married to my partner. And then who is he married to?
He is our husband.
We actually in our like when we say wife, we will say like our wife. Our husband.
It's true.
And we mean that. You're our wife, you're our husband, you are part of us, we are part of you, like we are together forever. Like we actually, you know, like our wife, our husband. Absolutely. So they are actually married to your family. Like it's
Like literally. Like you won't call your sister-in-law your sister-in-law. That's your wife.
That's just your wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your husband's pause. Think about that. Your husband's wife, you would never hear like a traditional like Mende person say, that's my sister-in-law. It would be like, that's our wife.
That's our wife.
That's our wife. So no, we take it serious. Like a marriage, like, because think about that. You guys, okay, it goes back. In America, family may not be as important. You can be INDEPENDT and still like, you know, afford a house, you can afford a car, you can wake up, you can go to work, you can get food. But when we talk about family, like in an agrarian society, family and children, that's the difference between life and death. Well, who's going to work these fields? Like, who's actually going to get out here and like harvest? Who's going to go to school so they can pay school fees for everybody else? Like the one who gets out, the one who goes to America. Like marriage means everything. Family means everything. So that's a very American perspective with all due respect. And I understand it. But when do you say enough is enough? When you're dead?
Yeah, and you're saying we shouldn't have a free pass to emotionally terrorize, and that's very true. The sad fact is a lot of these men have a free pass to emotionally terrorize these women.
Yeah.
My mom talks about my mother would, not always, but she would tell this story about her sister who was in an abusive relationship, because who wasn't, right? Back in the day. Her sister was in an abusive relationship and came back home. Now, this is after we have married you off. We've done the exchange of the kola nuts, like we've done the bride price, all of that. You belong to them.
And mind you, in an African village marriage, if you've actually been abused to the point that you're coming back home, this means this is next level abuse.
It's next
because
level.
sad abuses are normal. Normal in a lot of these relationships. So if it's abuse to the point where you've now left your maridos,
The abuse is up
to come back home.
So she came back home to the village, and he did what? they wouldn't even let her spend the night, literally for the sake of shame for the family. Like they wouldn't, because they didn't even want the in-laws to think that they had called her or that they had summoned her or that they were even like suborning this divorce. And so like she had to go back. And then my dad recently told me a story about his sister. And then she just kind of ran away because she couldn't come back home. She couldn't stay where she was getting killed every day. And so she ended up just like running away. And those are common stories. Like we could talk for hours about stories about domestic violence. It's not even there's domestic violence. And then there's like things that go on in like African villages where nobody will hear your cries. You don't even know that it's something you're supposed to be that upset about. Right? You don't even know that it's something you're supposed to be that upset about that the rest of the world, you don't know the rest of the world is not dealing with it. And people in Freetown, the people maybe in Accra in the city are not dealing with it.
Right.
When you're in a jungle, in a village, your entire world is whatever the elders say your world is. And what's important to you is whatever the elders say, like it should be important to the society that you live in.
Yeah, just to tie a bow on that, I mean, I agree with everything everyone said. I mean, we agree with you, but we just have that perspective of knowing from people close to us how it really is, right? And so I think being in the U.S., that's why I mentioned that most divorces in the U.S. are initiated by women. Wow, my brain is not working today, right? And that's important to recognize because in the United States, women have more privilege. I know there are many challenges for women in the U.S., but they have more privilege than they do a lot of times in West Africa, right? And so and we were talking about this on the way here, but like there's, especially in West Africa, I think you as a woman, your worth and your identity is tied to who you're married to. And it's tied to the fact that you are married, which I think, MASAH just mentioned. And so if you're a failure, if you leave that, and so you have to bear with it, right? Like, I mean, I can give you many examples. I'm not going to do personal examples just because they watch these lives, but people in my family have been married to people who have done wild things that like no person should stay married to that person. And they still stay married for years after these egregious things that these people have done.
Man.
And it is because of the society and the way they are told to be. It's inherently a part of who they are from the day they are born.
Yeah.
And so I know it's harder for those who spent a lot of time or even grew up elsewhere to kind of see how somebody could do that, especially in a world where it's actually been normalized to get a divorce, right? Like in the United States right now, it's perfectly fine as an option. Yeah. 40 years ago, it was not an option. In Africa, it's not an option, right? And so and being here, I think helps me even understand a number of different things differently than where I saw them. And the reason why I use oil and gas as the example before is because that's just one example of something where I can see people making decisions that I had too much privilege to understand why they would make those decisions previously, Okay, so let's move on to some of the other comments. So Wina says, I think the show is entertaining. However, I don't feel the show is a true representation of us. I feel like the show should highlight the source of the wealth. I think we both mentioned that. I do think so too. I had a conversation with a Nigerian 2 days ago. And he was like, yeah, sure, but nobody cares about that, right? What do people want to watch? And he's right. I mean, TV shows are not made to entertain us. They're made to make money. Entertainment is a byproduct, or hopefully the entertainment allows them to make money, right? And you can see that all of these reality shows follow a very similar pattern. Number one, alcohol is almost always introduced, right? Many times they make, as producers, right? So really quick, Real World was probably the first big reality show, but network television decided to do reality TV because there was a writer's strike in 2000. And so no writers, no actors, TV had to go on, right? So they took the model that they saw with Real World and they decided to do Big Brother and Survivor and all these other shows. As time went on, producers of these shows took the same route that producers of scripted television do. And they started to build narratives because they know that's what works. They started finding characters that they know are fiery and that are going to have a lot of interesting conversations. They started building around certain processes. One thing they do is they have this one-on-one interview where they ask people questions. And then they also tell them what people have said that you would never have heard in regular everyday life. Then what they do is they always tell them they get together and have a dinner go out for drinks. You
Yeah,
notice that, like,
it.
when Annie and Zari got together, they were out for drinks.
For dinner or
When-
out for lunch.
When the guy who has the white girlfriend and his friend that he's known for 20 years, when they got together, it was out for drinks, right? It's always that, because people are a little looser with the tongue when they have alcohol in their body, right? And so this is a process that they've figured out it works, right? And you do it one place, then you franchise it, right? You see that with the Housewives, you see that with Love and Hip Hop. There are many different shows that do this, right? Even with the show about the little people on TLC, they have like little people in like different cities, right? They have all of these shows do the same thing. So with that being said, Netflix has decided they're going to follow that same path. They have Selling Sunset, where they do a lot of the same stuff, especially with the Black women. That was an argument that Envy was making a while ago, is that like their show is a lot more about their drama than about them selling houses. And you're going to see the same thing. Yeah, you're going to see the same thing with this show about young, famous Africans. Now, I think that it overall does good, because it shows Africa in a light that you don't normally see on television, and you hear Afro beats in the background, so Afro beats artists are getting paid. You hear Pigeon when Annie's doing her one-on-one interviews, she's saying a lot of things in Pigeon, which I think is important for just the world to kind of get more of that context. And you're seeing young Africans doing well instead of just the scammers or presidents.
Well.
Okay.
Are we sure that some of them are not scammers?
Right, we're not sure.
Are we sure?
We're not sure.
No, we're not sure because they don't discuss where their wealth.
And that was one of the things that, what's her name? The girl who hosted the dinner party. Her daughter lives next door to her.
Connie.
Oh, girl.
Okay, so
Connie.
she said, I like gangsters, right? There's some scandal about what my boyfriend does for a living, but I don't care because I like gangsters. So I'm gangster is what she said. You're gangster until the feds come knocking on your door.
Right.
But
it's
yeah,
all fun and games.
Until the feds come.
Until Interpol roll up.
To
your house. And you know what? I don't even have like the words to describe about that level of parenting. Actually, I could not even. I thought it was audacious for Annie to say it to a complete stranger because she didn't know her.
Right.
But I was also tickled that it was the Nigerian, because I was like, yeah, it would be the Nigerian who would have to speak up, because what are you
about the kid living next door?
Yeah, what are you even talking about right now, sis? And who are you talking about? Talking to a table full of grown African adults who had African parents who are raising African children, and you're the one who figured out parenting. You are the one who figured out parenting, and the way to parent your child is to have her live in it. It's to not parent. You want to. What did she say? She wants to teach her about the world. She wants to teach her independence. Mm-hmm. Independent. She's literally a dependent.
Well,
according to the IRS, according to all of the legal statutes, and everywhere around the world, like
she's dependent.
She is dependent upon you for direction, for protection. So that's a whole different issue. Connie, like after I heard that, after that scene, I completely disregarded her and didn't take her seriously. Although she takes herself so serious, she's like she thinks she's the queen bee of the entire.
Every time she hears something, she's like, I'm gonna have to talk.
I'm going to have to talk.
She steps in everybody else's life for sure.
But you have a daughter living in a completely different apartment.
Yeah.
But you have the nerve to call me to a dinner. Girl, where's your daughter?
Well, the thing about Connie, right? So here's the challenge with her too, right? She lives in a nice place, right? She lives in a really nice neighborhood.
Two really nice places.
Yeah, she got two side by side. She's doing really well for herself. Where I understand the wealth has come from, unfortunately, her friend of 20 years put her on blast in a really rude way. I thought that was uncalled for. He was like, when she came to sit down with him to talk about the challenges he's having in his relationship, she's like, I think she said something like, there's always an argument, there's always a problem. He's like, you're always in a new Lambo.
He just said that.
You're always in a new Lambo. So obviously it comes from her relationship. She's a slay queen, as they say. And even her I think her son's father, they said there was her daughter's father, I think they said there was some controversy about who he was and how he made his money. And then the new guy, same thing. You know, I definitely think that it's interesting to see how she feels the way she does about herself, knowing that the investments came from relationships, not her actual work. And I think to me that's interesting. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of someone who puts themselves on a pedestal like that, and it's
an undeserved pedestal like that.
Yeah, I guess that's what you should say.
Now I will say, because I have Wikipedia and all of these people's to see what they're telling the world that they do for their living. And, you know, it says that, you know, Kenye is a South African actress, television host, and artist. And, you know, it boggles the mind because several of these people are like artists and television hosts. Like, how much are they paying these people exactly to do African television in Africa? Like, Idibia is also a television host. Like, how much is South Africa paying these South Africans to be on TV? I've got to know. So
I mean, well, Seacrest was a host, but that was on the biggest show. That was on the biggest show on television.
And has hosted now for 55 years.
Yeah.
Like, Ryan Seacrest was hosting since the day he was in Pampers, and so like he will be hosting until the day he dies. So Ryan Seacrest, that's different.
But yeah,
they're no Ryan Seacrest. They are not Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so that's Kenye. But I've like Googled everybody's net worth because I don't know what they do for a living, but I know what they told the interwebs that they had. Net worth of fam that was on there shopping for Lamborghinis with Nadia.
Diamond
Platinums. His net worth is only $1 million.
Now,
is that Diamond Platinum's correct?
Now, to be clear, it's really hard to determine net worth. A lot of times what these people do is they'll look at your real estate holdings, they'll look at your business and basically say, if you sold everything today, this is how much you would be able to get in cash if you sold everything you have.
I'm sorry. Let me correct. Obviously, okay. And first of all, you guys, I'm not getting these from like necessarily the most reputable sources, right? Yeah. It hasn't been vetted. I'm just telling you what the internet says these people's net worths are. I'm sorry. Diamond Platinum's net worth was actually $4 million. All right. So Diamond Platinum's net worth is, I'm sorry, but it's 4 million Kenyan shillings. So can somebody Google what 4 million Kenyan shillings is?
And by the way, Zari, before she met Diamond Platinum, was with a billionaire.
Let us be very clear.
Her older kids are
when
with billionaires.
Zari, so Diamond Platinum's 4 million Kenyan shillings. Zari, when she says I'm a billionaire, and she said it multiple times in the recording, I Googled this woman is a legit billionaire with a B, with a dollar sign in front. Her net worth is 8.8. No, I'm sorry. Her net worth here says 8.8 million. I'm sorry, I thought it said billion. But again, these people live in Africa. $8 million, $37 million,
and she's
$4 million.
Yeah.
Multiply times your currency in a country where maybe the average person is earning like $2 a day, right? So like $700 to $1,000 a year, and you have $8 million or even $1 million in net worth. Like, it's staggering wealth. I don't know if it's let me wake up because I'm gonna be in South Africa for a couple of weeks. Let me go shopping for a Lamborghini to drive, like while I'm in South Africa.
Shillings is $34,000.
Oh, girl,
that's surprising to me.
But I think that number is off. That has to be off.
Listen,
it might be a little low, but I don't.
It may be a little low.
Like $1 million would not be surprising to me.
It would not be surprising to me for $1 million. Like damn Diamond Platinum.
Like
you were really checking up. You're not Two-Faced Idibia. Like, I lived through the 2000s. I know what Tubaba. I know what he brought to the world.
Innocence is all.
I know what.
Innocence.
He earned
love the name.
He earned every dollar that $37 million.
What was another couple on there that we're supposed to be talking about?
Okay, so we wanted to talk about Diamond and Zari, Boss Lady Zari. So quick. We talked about this. I mentioned like the overall story, but I mean, I know they got more details. But basically, Zari, by the second to last episode, she had to sit down with him, and you could tell she said everything she had been wanting to say, and I guess she hadn't said to that point because it was clear that they hadn't had that kind of conversation. And I think we're not like 3 years removed from the situation. I think between him and her moving on from him. But one thing she did say is that like she was like, over 20 times I've had your back. So that means there was 20 different scandals, probably with different women, or at least same woman multiple times, where she's had his back. And I'm like, bro, that many times, get better at it. Get better at it.
Why would you get better at it if you're just going?
And that's just exactly what I said.
Well,
that's why there's a thin line
between
forgiveness and allowance.
Yeah, true.
Why would he ever get?
Why would he ever change it? Up to 20 times you had his back, like you stood by him. But she didn't just say that. She said, and you've never had mine.
Yeah, she did say
Can
that.
you imagine?
She
Like,
did say
what?
that. She did. And he told his story. He just told the story about the one girl. I don't know if there were multiple girls that he had kids with, but he told a story about the girl, and he said that he knew her from back in the day. And so basically he had two girlfriends at the same time. The Zari did not know about the local girlfriend he had back home.
It's always a local
girlfriend.
It's always a local.
You guys.
And I
American friends who are watching
Let
this.
me tell you something. You find an African man on the continent,
It's always.
there's always a local.
local
It's not
girlfriend.
guaranteed that he's going to marry that local girlfriend,
But she thinks he is.
She thinks he is. He's considering it.
His family thinks that he is.
and she exists.
She exists.
Interesting. Interesting.
And in closing, she's dead.
She's there. There's a local girlfriend.
She's dead. You cannot see her. But
she's been around for a long time.
All right, so
yes.
let me read through some of these, and then we should get through that, and then Mugabe's stepson.
Listen, it's not Mugabe's stepson. When you're saying Mugabe, you make me think about the dictator. Is that who you're saying?
Yeah, who was it?
It's not Mugabe. His father or his stepfather, his name is Elliot Magubani. Elliot Magubani.
Oh, so I was thinking it was Mugabe.
I was like, Mugabe, why would he even be on TV?
Literally, it
Because
was like, how did I miss this big thing?
I thought, yeah.
Lagoon, like y'all are thugs.
So I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
I know. I had to.
That was fake news, y'all.
That was fake news. Mugabe was a
So,
dictator.
So confused.
all right. So
His stepdad just had some money. But anyway, yes, I want to talk about him. So
It wasn't explored, unfortunately. I slightly
Stop.
with the views of the selling Tampa. However, the season was short. COVID probably come. Yeah, so same kind of thing. Yeah, so just along the same lines, everyone's saying they didn't show their life. All right, so let's get into real quick. So do we finish the Diamond Platinums and Zari discussion?
we didn't really finish
We
it.
actually didn't talk about
We
it.
didn't talk about it at all. So Diamond Platinums, he trashy, he raggedy, like he's ready to be grimy. He's down to clown at any point in time, which is why he was sitting there trying to like play with Nadia, knowing that Zari was coming, right?
And Nadia said she had a boyfriend.
Nadia said she had a
Yeah,
boyfriend.
it's like he could have actually just left the Nadia situation alone. But instead he went up on stage and like gave her a shout out. So you're
sang to her.
you're messy.
to her.
The day he met her.
He's actually messy.
The day he met her, he sang to her.
Because you could have had these feelings without now telling the entire room in song form that you're feeling this
And
shit.
Zari wasn't a surprise, right? Zari showed up at his house, invited.
And now Zari's
for
here and
his-
you're pretending
yeah.
Nadia doesn't exist.
For his
Like, boy,
party.
you're doing childish things.
He's a child. He's a man.
He's
child
a man child,
who
absolutely.
apparently has a net worth of $34,000.
Yeah, you need to focus
No,
on
we don't
that.
really
is
know.
what you
Stop.
need.
We don't really know. We don't really know.
And what you really need to know is
We don't know that to be true. Listen.
your net worth is more than mine, so I can't even talk. But I'm saying,
Yeah, the show is
for your name to be Diamond Platinums.
For you to be shopping for Lamborghinis. For you to be shopping for Lamborghinis on the show. So the one thing I will say,
Yeah.
in response to like no narrative is that, oh no, it wasn't her. Somebody else.
Miss-
For the most part, unless you are a scammer, a professional and successful scammer, and there are many of them in Ghana.
Talking
In
about
Nigeria.
things we considered.
Salon.
Listen.
The scammers be getting money.
Scammers.
I would never be a scammer though.
Mm.
FBI agent that's watching this.
Right.
Oh yeah, to be very clear, I don't break the law. And what I was considering was not law breaking.
It
wasn't law
It
breaking.
wasn't law breaking.
Just to be clear.
And the illegal side of scamming is what's taking it completely off the table.
So yes, to be clear, FBI agents. But what I'm saying is, like, unless you are a professional scammer, like who's getting easy money
Mhm.
and you tricking it off, like actual millionaires, the Dan Gotes of the world, the Dan Gotes of Africa,
Billionaire
They are
even. He's a billionaire.
right. The Dan Gotes of the world, like they are working hard for their money. Like they're hardworking people, just like billionaires anywhere.
Mhm.
And so to see this show and for them to be passing these people off as like millionaires and billionaires, and just to see them to just be passing here and there, not doing any kind of work,
Not doing it.
Not on any
only not any
episode.
kind of work. Nothing that we've heard of.
not on any
Because
episode
I
where
would
you're
not
doing any
heard
kind
you.
of work. Not doing any, we haven't heard of you, like it was fake. It was clearly staged. So these people are successful in their own countries, in their own rights, in their own industries. I didn't appreciate the Lamborghini shopping because how, Sway? Since when? With what Kenyan shillings are you buying this Lamborghini in South Africa just for you to be in South Africa for a few weeks for filming?
Yeah.
It's nonsensical. So it was foolish.
This
And
has
it
nothing
was.
to do with what it just made me think about it, is thinking of fancy things in that train ride that they went on.
Yeah.
But what cracked me up is when Annie came and now her dress, when everybody was dressed up like Gatsby style.
Oh, I got
and
you.
Annie came in her gown like dressed up for once.
But the thing is, she was actually dressed for the occasion that it turned into.
Right.
She actually was dressed.
She did.
She was ready.
was
That's
dressed
what
appropriately.
the thing is, I like so many things, but Annie is sharp. She's
like
sassy. It's that her relationship that she accepts. We can't meet eye to eye on that. Well, I really like Annie's style. Her like,
Oh yeah.
Annie was like,
Annie was like, no,
no,
no.
I'm not dressing up for this.
Okay, so who do I like? Okay, my favorite character. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys, I have more tea. When we're talking about scammers, look at what I have found. Okay, Andile Nkube, who is
Andale.
He was the guy whose dress code I want to take after, right?
absolutely.
I can see
he was
you
super
aspiring to
cute.
dress
He's
like
very
Andale.
like Andile is a TV personality in South Africa. Again, these South Africans apparently getting multi-million.
Andale's the type that's a little too suave that make you suspicious.
Well,
He's a savage. Homeboy's a savage.
Andale, you remember that scene where he couldn't go on the train ride because he had to go to
To
his
his father's
father's grave?
Yeah.
It's actually his stepfather's grave.
Mm.
Why is that important? It's important because the stepkids, as of 48 hours ago, have dragged Andale Nkube in the streets.
They're upset that their
African
dad,
Twitter.
he brought their dad into the show
Number one, who authorized you
to show my
to
dad's
show my
gravesite.
dad's gravesite? Listen, gravesite. First of all,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah,
even
that-
know where your stepdad was buried.
First
You
of
wouldn't
all,
even know where the burial
you
ground
know that you're a stepchild, and if you know that you and the kids aren't on that level, that was pretty bold for him to.
So
Not
who
just that.
he went with were his siblings
own
that were the
siblings.
step
The
siblings,
step siblings went
not
to
the
the grave.
children of the
Right.
He went to the stepfather's grave with his own siblings. The step siblings said, number one, how dare you show our father's grave when they haven't authorized it? Again, this might seem like a small matter, but as an African person who does not even know where my ancestors are buried, there is not a burial ground that my woman eyes, my girl eyes, can actually lay eyes on. Like, it was bold, it was audacious, it's disrespectful, it's completely against tradition. You wild, and you didn't have the authority. But then the biggest thing, what they said is, knowing good and well that they have scammed us out of our father's inheritance. Knowing good and well that we're currently in litigation. They're currently in litigation because when their father died, he left a will according to the original biological children that said his wife, so Andale's mother, should only get 5% of his wealth, and the children, should get 95% of his wealth. His wealth included houses everywhere, property everywhere, cash, 7 or 8 vehicles, BMWs, and all kinds of multiple Range Rovers, Land Rovers. So apparently Andale's mother and the stepchildren they have capo on everything, and they're in litigation, and you have the nerve and audacity
to show his. Some people in Salo would say, they're afraid God.
They're afraid. Shame self. Yes.
Wow. Now that is some tea.
Shame. Yes. It says that
all for TV.
It says that the media personality Andale stole the inheritance that was meant for them and their siblings. Again,
I told you, he's the type of guy. You just get suspicious. You just watch him and you say,
you laugh too much.
You're
too much.
You're too happy-go-lucky about everything.
Too happy-go-lucky about
too
serious
suave.
things.
Too nothing is just nothing serious. Oh, that's too bad.
No, but you guys, how do you think? Okay. So I have my own theories on how this next scene is going to go, right? Because they ended with the scene where Diamond Platinums is there.
has now come home and Andale is in his house.
No, Andale is not in his house.
Andale comes.
Diamond Platinums
up there. He's upstairs playing with his children.
Yeah.
On some daddy's home. Daddy's home back at my house. Daddy's back at home.
And Andale has carried himself to Zari's house and announced.
Knocking on the door.
He has knocked on the door. I was like, is this real life? Like, did this really happen?
Why did she let him in the house, though? Why did she let him in the house?
Diamond Platinum comes downstairs like, oh, man, I was going to come to the wedding, but I was late. But Diamond Platinum's really looking like,
Why you
I
here,
know
though?
we cool, but like,
He was starting to think like,
you came here to say hi to me? Like,
right.
You ain't have to do all that.
So I don't know if it was staged from
Kinda
everybody
feels like
except for Diamond.
Except for Diamond.
Diamond
Yeah.
Platinum's like his reaction was
He
genuine.
looked
Yeah, sure.
genuinely
He worked it through in his head like, we cool, but we not cool.
Maybe the
enough.
producers are like, you
And the way
need
that
to have
did
this
the show,
conversation.
I was like, they couldn't even hide the fact that Diamond really was like gone for most of that film.
Yeah.
He was gone. Like the man
He was in the
booked and
States.
busy.
Yeah, he was
so
in the
when
States.
he came back, he literally was coming back
He
to a
tried
lot
to
of
add-
things that had transpired.
He's trying to add to that $34,000.
Good. So
Yeah.
focus on that, my man, because your family.
What is this guy's name? Alunde?
Andule.
Andule. That guy.
Andale is
So-
a snake.
There are whatever kind of codes you all live by.
Man.
Okay, look. You say this guy is your friend, right? Before you even go down that path, you need to have a conversation with him.
And it's not like it wasn't brought to your mind because everybody kept telling
And they
you.
kept telling you you're doing too much. There's a lot of hand holding.
Mhm.
They're really
Leg
close.
rubs.
It was even perceived that they kissed,
That they kissed at one point.
right? So
And
when they were
everybody
doing
was
all
like,
of that,
this is not right.
and he kept pulling it aside and like, I get it, right? I get it. I understand how you might feel. But as soon as you start feeling that way, you have to have that conversation. This is your boy. You called him a close friend. You said this is a close friend. The guy has 2 kids with her or 3 kids?
Two.
2 kids with her.
Boy and a girl.
He comes and stays there a lot when
That's
he comes.
his house.
That's his family,
That's
as
his
he
family.
said.
That's
Yo,
his family.
That line has been haunting me
Yeah.
ever since.
Because that was like the
show
last
ended.
line of the
That
show,
was the
right?
last- and I was like,
That was the last line of the
right,
show.
This is his
Family.
He was like, this is not filming.
This
This
is
is
my
not TV.
family.
This is my
I
family.
swear I've been haunted by that line ever since.
And he can holler at other girls because she's let him do that before. But that's still his family.
That's his
You can't look
That's
at that
his
like
house.
he's talking to other girls, so I can step in over here.
Andule know better.
But now that we know Andale's backstory, Andale trying to get to them billions that sis has.
Yeah.
Andale,
So,
you're not fooling
Wait, I
nobody.
corrected myself. It's not billions, it's millions. But it's
Whatever,
millions of dollars.
her millions.
And she inherited that. She came to the table.
Yeah,
with that.
Andale's like, let me help you out with that.
Yes. So
Yeah,
Don't
wow.
do Azari.
the only thing that I said, and this is my only. First of all, I kind of like Andale. I mean, he was cute and like he has little dimples and he's
He's not my
really
speed,
nice.
as Dude said.
Well, he's not my physical speed.
Not my speed.
He's not my physical speed, but he's hard to like not like. Right?
No,
I like his style.
I
I
don't
like his
like
style. I like all the style on the
You
show.
don't like him?
I don't like Andale.
Actually, he was the only person that I liked until he kept going with this Zari.
He wouldn't stop. I didn't think it was gonna go so long.
He
I thought it was gonna be like a little
It went
flirtatious,
far.
and then that
went
was it.
far.
Okay, but
Yeah.
what I will say is the thing that dang, I just lost my train of thought. Wait, you guys carry on.
You said he was hard not to like.
No, before I was about to say he's hard not to like.
So he was the only person. I was saying he was the only person on the show I liked. Right? I think there were.
The only person on the show that you like?
All right. So
That was a little questionable.
No.
okay. Who else? Okay. All right. We'll let you guys get to
I
who
like
you like.
Annie is my favorite.
Okay, so Annie's cool. Annie's cool. But I didn't like how she sat down and started talking shit about the food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, keep it to yourself. You don't even know these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my introduction to her. So I was like, I didn't like that. I thought like that scene where he like took her to the side, was trying to make sure she was okay. I was like, all right, this is like an honorable thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you feel like you got a vibe and a connection with somebody. You're having this conversation and you're trying to console her or whatever. I'm like, all right, he seems cool. Everything else about him I didn't like. Homeboy who said what he said about his homegirl about getting into different Lamborghinis on TV like that. I mean, look, I might say a version of that to a friend of mine when it's just me and her. I wouldn't even say it in front of like 2 or 3 other people. To do that on TV like that.
Now her daughter knows.
Yeah, and I was like, that wasn't cool.
Yeah,
that wasn't
was a low
cool.
blow.
That wasn't
Yeah.
cool. And then with
And
everybody
you could
else,
tell she was shocked. Like,
The thing
oh,
is-
wow, we going there?
yeah,
Why else would your
right.
daughter not be able to live in your household?
right.
Girl, you out here.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was one of the things that was said
Right,
at that
let's keep it
dinner.
real.
That was one of the
Keep it
things that
real.
was inferred at that dinner when they were talking about it. Was like they
You
were
know,
saying it's because she didn't want him to see it with
the-
different
her
guys that she's
gentleman
not
friend.
serious about. Yeah, gentleman friend she's not serious about. So her, I think I have challenges with her. The one with the how she's parenting, yeah. I got issues with Diamond because Diamond's a wild man. The girl says she has a boyfriend. He's doing this whole thing. And
that girl, I also liked her.
Wait, so
She's
you
the
wouldn't
most
talk to
normal.
a girl who had a boyfriend, like if you liked her? So you don't strike me as a person who would respect a boyfriend.
No. Listen, here's my thought process about it. Like, if she's outwardly saying it, you know what I'm saying? I don't really necessarily pursue women with boyfriends if they're monogamous.
If they're monogamous.
I don't pursue that.
Okay.
Because you know why? Because that means that she's always going to be open to someone talking to her
Absolutely.
if she's doing that, if she's entertaining that with you. So I wouldn't do that because how you get them is how you lose them. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't even do that. So that's why I wouldn't do it. Also, because I wouldn't want to be him. You know what I'm saying? Like now listen, this is me at 37, soon to be 38 in a few weeks.
When's your birthday?
May 1st, May Day.
Oh.
If this was me at 26, I would have said something different. I don't know the guy, I don't care. But now I do, because I see the world differently. But at that time I didn't care. So that's the situation with her. She says she had a man, she's telling everybody she has a boyfriend. It's all over social media. Whatever that's happening.
They was talking.
Whatever it was,
and
yeah.
She needed a storyline.
But
it didn't even last throughout the whole
Yeah, that's true. It didn't.
But
But
that wasn't her man. You was
That wasn't her man.
They had
Okay.
a good time.
Okay,
They had a
so
good
so
time.
maybe her I was kind of
But
cool
that's
with.
normal.
That's fine. Okay, for her I'm cool with. But like everybody else did something that I was like, I don't like. And I felt like was inherently a part of who they were, because that one thing they did showed up in other places. So to me, it was like the only person I liked was this dude, but then what he was doing with was supposed to be his boy's girl, I couldn't get with that. So everybody had something I didn't like. But who I like the most, I would say.
What about Zari? What didn't you like about Zari?
I didn't like how Zari pulled homeboy to the
Was
side and did that thing, right? Like if you have that feeling, you should talk to her about it. And first of all, the producers will tell you, go sit down and talk about it. And she did. I guess she did sit down and talk to her about it. But the three of them maybe could talk about it, or you say to her, I want to have this conversation. But also, she didn't need to have the conversation with him.
Nope.
So I didn't like any of that. Like,
no, Zari was messy.
I didn't.
Very messy.
So I didn't like that about her. But
for marriage. And
but
that's why
I-
he kept on saying, this is my husband.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
you being messy as if this is a boyfriend and we're kind
Yeah.
of competing like you're my. This is my husband. So stop playing with me, please.
So I didn't like that about her. But
Yeah.
mostly everything else, I think she was being ganged up on for all the wrong reasons. So I didn't feel like she deserved all of that. But that particular instance was not worth it. But I will say this. With these reality shows, you know, when there is a general consensus amongst people, a lot of times what they do is they produce it that way. They edit it that way. We don't know what the full length of these conversations were at the dinner tables, right? We don't know what all happened throughout these things. All we know is we got a 3-hour thing and we got a 2 minutes worth of it, right? And so whatever they decided to use and what they kept is what they kept. So I don't know if she was saying things that made it seem like she felt like she was above everyone, or if that was people projecting on her.
I feel like they're projecting
So
that she
it's-
got money bags.
it's-
more money than all of them.
They might have been projecting about that, but she actually does have that quality.
She does have that, and
Yes,
she
yes.
does. She does.
She actually
So
does.
I wonder if maybe it's both, and I don't
think
know,
it's a
you know.
combination of both.
But that's my thing about this, but yeah, I mean, everybody had a quality about them that I didn't like. I can't say there's any one of. I mean, but look, to be honest with you, if I encountered all of them, I would love to know them more, right? Any one of them, because they figured it out here on the continent.
Yeah, they
I-
do.
Through their connections. And so, you know, and what I've discovered being here is that, and I hate to say this because I'm a person who thinks that I have a really serious high moral compass, but when you're on the continent, there are many people in very high places that there are certain things about them you have to ignore.
Oh, yes.
And it just is what it is
Yes.
here on the continent because of how early we are in our development. It's like the Kennedys. Here's a good example. The Kennedys made their money off of all illegal activity, right? This is how it was. This is what they did, right? Their father was a gangster. JFK himself knew a lot of the mob folks, right? It's just how it works. Exactly. So, you know, you just have to know that there are certain figures in world history that we all look at as amazing people, but they had things about them that people around them had to ignore from time to time. And so with these folks, this is me talking about what I think about the show, but in real life, there are people like that you would encounter, and sometimes you ignore those things. You might tell them about themselves when you're one-on-one with them, which I would, but it doesn't mean that I might not have somebody like this that I know. I've had worse people that I've known that I had considered friends from time to time. So I will say all that. So I'm saying all this with judgment as a viewer of a TV show,
Yeah.
but I'll be honest with you,
You'd
if
hang
I knew
with-
them in person,
with any of them.
I would hang with them. Yes,
Okay.
I would, but I wouldn't bring my girl around homeboy.
Andale.
Andale.
I like a snake, right?
Oh, man.
Andale.
Okay, Kenya, who is your favorite?
person on the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was Annie because
Annie.
she's blunt. She's like me. People get mad at the things I say sometimes.
Who did you just?
I'm
You
gonna
would
still say it. Though.
But would you
be a guest? You
be-
would be a guest at somebody's dinner.
No, I'm not. I'm not
you,
like
you blunt but not rude.
I'm very blunt, but I hate unnecessary rudeness. I don't
Yeah.
like rudeness.
That was rude.
She was unnecessarily rude.
Yeah.
She was rude when she was telling oh girl,
How to be a parent?
About her
You think
kids.
so?
Be a parent. Of
You
course,
think so?
everybody thought. Of course, she was. That was out of line. You don't tell
It's
somebody how
tough.
to be a parent. Like if she wants her daughter to end up being a Jezebel just like her,
Oh.
allow her.
Oh,
If she wants
Yikes.
her daughter to be a professional gold digger and a thought like her, allow that woman to
Top.
allow her daughter.
Yeah, children
THOT.
are a sensitive subject.
Yeah, children are.
Yeah, I mean, look,
subject.
I learned a long time ago you can't tell a parent how to parent.
No, not
But
at all.
I mean, the conversation came up. I'm trying to think about I mean,
And she was
I'm
so
more
angry
diplomatic.
about it.
I'm more diplomatic, and I wouldn't have kept the conversation going. Once
Uh-uh.
once you realize it's already there, it's
Yeah.
like I'm more diplomatic. But I might have said something like, "Wow, that's." I might have just said like, "Wow, that's interesting." Yeah.
interesting.
That definitely would have been my.
Or that's one way to do it. Maybe is what I would have said.
I would have been like, that's
That's
different.
that's one
But-
way to do it.
but-
Yeah.
Remember
Okay.
we were talking about like the personalities. Like
Yeah.
this is Mrs. Tubaba,
Mhm.
like whose world, right? In her world, she's a mega celebrity,
She's the
right?
queen.
She's the queen, like in her world. Now she's come to this other place where this other girl is acting like the queen, and she didn't realize like there were hierarchies and that she was supposed to like kowtow to Kanye.
Right.
Whereas Kanye,
And they actually ended up being
herself as the
friends.
focal for the entire show. They're
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to make Kanye the focal for the entire show. I'm not
She
going.
is. She is.
Zari is gonna be the focal.
Well,
for the entire show.
Zari technically is, but Zari was an outsider to that group, right?
Zari's an outside to that group.
So that's why it really wasn't about her. She didn't even end up into like the second season. But you saw how different it was. Like she came in second episode, and it was like they must have been filming, and they were like, "We need something."
We need
a little
something.
We need something. And Diamond was gone.
Baby mama.
But they were like, "We're gonna bring her in though." Diamond's planning to leave, but we're gonna bring her in.
Yeah.
And this guy,
You know who was not necessary to the turn up?
who?
Nadia.
She wasn't, but I think I liked her because she just.
Well, Diamond was hollering at her.
Real
It's like
life
kind
aspect, she
You
seemed
like
the most
her.
normal.
You like her because in a real life aspect, like she would be somebody who would get along with you. Like
Yeah.
she was normal.
Yeah,
She's
she's
regular.
normal.
She's
But
real.
she
You
was
might do-
not
you might
at
do
all
music
because
with her.
She wasn't necessary to the
Because she didn't want to
storyline.
be down with the it.
And even her own storyline about Vic, like I said, it wasn't a real relationship, so it was like,
Yeah. Y'all had a vacation that lasted too long.
yeah.
And went on a couple of vacations thereafter. Like
90 Day Fiance.
that's it. That's what that was. Yeah, she wasn't necessary to the turn up. The person I liked the most, it was two. There were two people.
Oh, DJ Naked.
What?
That's the guy's name who I was trying to figure out.
Oh,
Who.
okay.
DJ Naked was being rude with his girlfriend. They said DJ Naked wasn't needed either. That's what I am.
You know what? He wasn't
Tammy
necessary.
ETV says DJ Naked wasn't. But he was the tie-in with Homegirl with the daughter that lives next door.
Is that what it was? Because I remember
Because they have that long-standing friendship.
I remember what I wanted to say. The
Oh, yeah,
point that
go.
I could not remember. What bothered me was number one, like to somebody's point about how it wasn't a real representation of Africans. It's not a real representation of wealthy Africans. It just isn't. Like wealthy Africans are out here trying to figure out how to get more wealth. Like wealthy Africans to that level of wealth. Again, $37 million. It might sound like regular rich to Americans, but on the continent, after you have flipped that and changed it into the currency, like the level of like mega wealth that is, like it would be mind-boggling in the United States. You may not have we don't have a name for that many zeros in the United States. So these people are super, super, super successful, but how exactly are they connected? That's what I didn't like.
Yeah, I mean,
So like now you guys are feeding the narrative that
Yeah.
Africa is a country. And that
Yeah.
Uganda is right across the street from Tanzania, and Tanzania is two hours drive away from South Africa. Y'all don't know each
DJ
other.
Naked's girlfriend wasn't needed, not DJ Naked. Sorry.
I
No, the
forgot all
girlfriend
about
was more
DJ.
needed. The girlfriend was
she's
more
a
interesting.
semi-pro soccer player apparently.
Oh,
What
more
I
interesting
what I think what I was
than man.
well, yeah, I mean DJ Naked, that guy, that conversation he had with his friend. I mean that you call her your friend and you do her like that. I mean I'm
You
sure.
really can't get over that.
Well, because
But she was
you
calling
saw
out that
how,
conversation.
but you saw how hurt she was.
But the thing is, don't dole it out if you can't deal with it. And that's the other reason why I can't take Kanye serious. Number one, your parenting, your non-parenting,
Yeah.
it's foolish, it's stupid,
But
it's
you-
terrible. It's a terrible, terrible.
But come on,
plan.
bro.
No, she was.
What she
doling it
said to
out.
him
She
was
wouldn't
not the
leave him
same
alone.
thing as what he said to her.
She wouldn't leave him alone about his relationship. Don't be in my business, girl. If you know you a thought, you don't have the right.
Ouch.
You are not qualified.
Ouch.
I don't care how big your condo is or how big your high rise is. Your actual child that you pushed out of your uterus cannot live in the same household with you because of the trained men that are coming through this place, girl, go on somewhere. Don't ever advise me about my relationship. Nah, seriously.
But on TV like that, though?
Don't ever advise me about my relationship. Are you advising me about my relationship on TV?
Listen,
because if you advise me about relationship on TV, you're gonna get told about yourself on TV.
So I have friends who I know things about who maybe said something to me, but it was in good faith. She wasn't really trying to.
He told her to leave him alone. He said, "Chill." He said, "Leave me alone." Well, go ahead on now. He said, "Go ahead."
You know he had to apologize.
His relationship was a little bit toxic as well. I think that might have added
very toxic.
Yeah, I don't think he really is into her that much.
I don't think so either.
Oh, the girl.
Yeah.
But then also doesn't really want to let her go, and so like. And then just somebody speaking on it, like I think he just didn't want any part of it. Like on some, like I know we're toxic, but just leave us alone type of thing.
But this is one of those things.
Don't put ideas in her head.
Yeah, well, this is
don't put ideas in her head.
This is one of those things, though. Don't do something in the beginning you're not willing to do over time and consistently.
Oh yeah, man.
Because she said in the beginning he was doing all kinds of stuff.
But girl, come on. How old are you? I keep on being like, how old are these people? These little childish games that they play.
I'm trying to think like, what is this by force?
Seriously, that relationship in particular.
Yeah, like
you don't even actually.
What are you actually holding on to?
You don't live together.
I am Tammy ETV as So okay, a couple things. So this is I am Tammy ETV is saying her daughter lives right next door to her. So it was weird that they made her seem like she sent her to live hours away. And what is it? Kenye
girl
has a partner who we saw, which I don't think she's a thought. Okay, so the the thought word was used to describe her because of her lifestyle leading up to this partner. Which, by the way, this partner is her current partner. But what's being made known and clear is that and he's the recent guy, but there's always a new guy.
Always.
And there's always a very wealthy new guy, and it's about their wealth. And that was what I was saying about DJ Naked putting her on blast by saying you're always in a new Lamborghini, right? That was the idea that he was saying. I think the other part of it too is that why have someone live in a whole separate place than you
and live next door?
Yeah, and live next door if they are if they're independent enough to live on their own. If they're not, then she should just have her own wing in the house, right? It shouldn't be in her own apartment because, when she has her own apartment, she can do whatever she wants, and you'll never know what's going on.
She was like, she wouldn't have a problem, like, basically, if that went on. Like, whenever it's time for her, whenever she feels ready, basically, like, you want to have certain guests or whatever, like, it's up to you to navigate that on your own in your own little apartment.
You guys exposed. What everybody has their own views on parenting, but I like to think that I am a fantastic mother. And children need guidance. Like, they don't come out of the womb and into this world like knowing how to avoid pitfalls, knowing how to avoid traps. None of us avoided all of the pitfalls and all of the traps. But at some point, like in your darkest hour and your time of need, like I would like to think that like those of us who had good parents, like we could lean on the words of our parents, like in the recesses of our minds. Like we could lean on the words of our parents to get us through. Like
I don't understand people's obsessions with making their children independent as if adulthood doesn't last way longer than the years that you're responsible for them. These are only going to last a few years. They're not going to be out on their own making their own decisions forever and ever and ever. Just use those formative years to give them some guidance and advice. Like what is this? What is this like? Early release from your care.
Early release.
And let me be clear. To be very clear, I am Tammy E. Like you talking about a child living hours away. Our parents sent us to Sierra Leone, but they sent us to aunties and uncles, other adults that would just be there, being at our heads to make sure that
you need adult supervision.
Like you need adult supervision. So I was in a boarding home, right? Like I believe in boarding homes. Nothing bad happened to me in the boarding home where other adults were just on my head like this 24/7. But to just have a teenager in an apartment next to you, knowing good and well that she know that it's ninjas coming and going from your house, that's trash. It's trash parenting. It's non-parenting. I don't support it. Come fight me. It's terrible.
Okay.
It's terrible.
Okay, here we go. Another one. Her daughter, as of 2022, may have moved back with her, and the parenting is all about try and error. So if that worked for them, I'm here for it.
It didn't work. You know when you know it's not going to work?
Yeah, we don't know if it's working.
You don't know that it didn't work sometimes until your child is 20, 30 years old and they write in their tell-all biography about how their mama was a living next door, and she moved them into the apartment next door, and they was in there doing lines. And
doing lines
and shooting up with their friends. What would a teenager be doing if it's not having sex and doing drugs? Like what is a teenager gonna do in an apartment by themselves? Watching what you want. We couldn't even watch what we wanted to go watch on TV because our parents were right there in the house. We had to make sure that we were acting appropriately at all times. And then when we left the house, that means we were at school or we were at some sort of practice. Like children need structure and supervision. Nah, it ain't working. We're gonna find out it's not working when her daughter gets arrested by Interpol for that.
So
for the sex trafficking ring that's going through her daughter's house.
So I am Timmy TV thought it was funny. Okay, cool. All right, so do we want to wrap this up? We are now at 2 hours and 14 minutes.
We do.
Guys, want to thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure.
Wait, we didn't
There's
say
more?
how we gotta call it right now on how we all think the next episode is gonna go. Like how do we think this
well,
is
first and foremost, my fave Annie's gonna get her feelings hurt some way.
Well, it's already late. It's already happening. Clearly, since they've done shooting production, it's already happened.
Ending and them renewing their vows. Next thing is going to be some hot pepe.
Well, look, this thing. Well, no, look. 7 months ago, they had probably already wrapped, or they were finishing wrapping, and it's already been a thing on social media with the
now
other.
People are seeing it.
Yeah, with the baby mom. So this thing has been going on for the last 7 months.
Not that I want to see that.
So it's likely going to be captured on tape.
Africans don't be wanting to see that happily ever after.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna happen. I think Diamond is probably going to handle it as well as he can, but it's gonna mess up that friendship between those two.
I think Diamond's gonna get mad.
I think he's gonna get mad, but I think he's gonna handle it as well as he can, and he's gonna be upset, and it's gonna mess up their friendship. And I don't think Zari really wants him. I think Zari just wants to be liked. So I think, and didn't Zari say she was dating someone anyway prior to this guy talking to her? So I don't even know what that situation is.
She's a little sketch herself.
Yeah, because we don't know enough about her.
Yeah, I think she was saying she was a billionaire because her ex was a billionaire. Her kids from her previous relationship. But anyway, I think that's what's going to happen there. I don't think the situation is going to be pursued any further. I could be wrong. They might try to keep it going, but I think at some point it comes to an end. If it does, it's because Zari wants to get back at Diamond, and that could be
honestly. I think that's what's fueling the whole
thing. Yeah, I think it might be. It might be
like you say that passive aggressive.
It's passive aggressiveness. Mm-hmm. You say that you moved on or whatever, and y'all are cordial or whatever. Oh, he can come by here anytime. But this is all about getting back at him. You don't like that dude like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. You like it. You like how it's gonna make him feel, and what you thought men didn't want me. Like okay, it's one of those situations.
Okay, so you think that's what's gonna happen?
I think that's what's gonna happen.
I listen. I'm holding out hope for Tubaba and Annie. I am hoping that he has put it behind him, that he has moved on from his trashy womanizing lifestyle, and I just hope that they ride off into the sunset together.
Me too.
I do not think the Diamond Platinum is going to take it well. First of all, you came into this man's house and he was upstairs putting his kids in bed.
You think he might fight him?
Okay, I'm sorry, not his house, but you came into this man's
I think he's gonna get like upset. Like
I think
saw
he
like just like clicking.
Yeah.
And then I think it's gonna he's gonna slowly be like, because it's gonna come back like, so the whole time I've been gone, like what's been going like I think it's gonna
because again, that public disrespect. Like now you disrespected me like on film.
Yeah.
Like what
this whole time this has been going.
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
Behind my back.
I don't know if they're filming season 2 or second half of season 1 before having seen the show. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see what the response is going to be after having seen it, right? Because there's always a delay, right? After they've seen what happened, now there's like a new way of seeing things. I'm interested. I'm trying to think of what other storylines are happening that. I don't think DJ Naked staying with his girl.
I was gonna say, first of all, I don't think they need to break up. You guys are not even married. Like
I think they're breaking up. I think they're breaking up.
Break up.
I think they're breaking up. Do you think that this girl with her daughter next door is staying with this guy? Kanye staying with this guy?
This guy.
Child, maybe for right now, till he get arrested by Interpol.
I don't take them that seriously.
Shit. Okay.
Till he get arrested by the South African.
Who else is there? Who else is there?
Okay, you know who I really like?
Nadia might not even come back. I feel like she didn't hold her weight.
You think Nadia?
And she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Nadia doesn't want to. Nadia is like she's an artist. She's trying to like really be about her stuff. Nadia doesn't want to be a part of.
And
the
I don't
mess.
think she's honestly even willing to, like, she's not willing to even do the fake stuff. Like Nadia's
She's
really
not.
like with old girl Zara. She's like, I don't like her.
Yeah.
I don't like
she
how
did
she's
say
behaving. I
that.
don't like
She did say
it.
that.
And she's not gonna fake it. Like she's like,
Yeah.
Nadia's real. Like
Yeah.
So
And those
I
people
don't
don't
know.
last that long.
If they don't last that long in
on
reality.
reality TV.
Yeah, because you got to be able to kind of play the game.
Oh, you know who I liked? You know who I liked the most? Swanky. I forgot about him.
Which the
designer.
fabulous one.
First of all, I follow Swank. You guys, if
Oh,
y'all
I
don't
follow
follow
Swanky.
him on
Swanky.
Instagram.
First of all, Swanky with that drama on the train. I said,
listen.
Yes,
First of all,
he went off
Swanky,
on the train.
that
It was a
because
lot.
because
It was a
Swanky
lot.
is slightly fruitalicious. They forgot that Swanky looks like he's a 6'5" man, and he looked like he was about to wreak havoc. He was waiting for the one, like Andale. Will you be the one that would stand up? Don't.
I follow Swanky
Little
now.
Andale, don't try it. Like Swanky, like went off on them. But baby, let me tell you, if you need something to glorify your timeline every day, I was like, Swanky, where do you find time for work? Because the way he's slaying us on Instagram every day,
Oh yeah,
in slow motion.
he is styling.
So he is actually my favorite. And
Actually,
really
I
wanna
forgot
hear
all about
more.
him. He is my favorite.
I want to
We need
hear
to know more
from
about
him.
what he actually has going on.
Because
He
he's
embodies
real,
his career,
He's real.
clearly.
He embodies his career. He embodies like that is his. That
He's
is
a
literally-
real friend, like a
he's
loyal
a real friend.
He's fabulous. Oh yeah, you're right. He is my favorite.
is my
Actually, I almost
favorite.
forgot all about him.
Annie is my favorite. But you know what Annie is? Annie is your girlfriend who you like, girl, don't tell me not one more time.
And you like,
Don't
yeah,
tell me
you
on the
can't
radio.
even talk to Annie all the time.
Yeah.
That's your homegirl that's just like, I can't even talk to you on a regular basis because these ups and downs are frustrating me. They're stressing me out. They're making me anxious. And I know that you're not going nowhere.
They're making me question your sanity. Like at 2
So
o'clock in the morning.
I will
phone
catch
calls,
up with
can't
you
take
in
them.
about 6 weeks. Make sure you're still good.
when y'all up again.
Yeah.
Because y'all are always going to be up again. Because that's the way that the cycle of domestic violence works. Because I will say, and this is to no narrative, I don't want you to think for a second, just because I put on my African woman hat and I was just like, this woman ain't going nowhere. She too deep in it. $37 million net worth, and that's what's on the interweb. Like that man is too mega rich, and her family is too dependent, I'm sure, on him. Like for her to go anywhere, she's stuck. She in it to win it. But to be clear, like I truly do believe that African women have to value themselves, and they have to see the power in themselves. If more African women are walking around like Zari Boss Lady, this continent would go like skyrocket into the future. If more African women tapped into their power, into their beauty, into their gifts,
And didn't solely connect it to your connection.
and didn't
to a
solely
man,
connected to these
to
cheating,
these men,
not you,
these
Not you.
disloyal,
Understood.
dishonest.
dirty,
Yeah.
raggedy, cheating men.
How can you say you have no value and your value is connected to a man? This is what gives you value. Being connected to a man that
Just have baby after baby after baby after baby.
does
after
that
baby.
even make sense that that's what gives you value?
Can you imagine?
Wait, Ayunde had 2 baby mamas at the same party too. That was funny.
Andale did.
Andale.
And they didn't go into
Andale.
that enough.
They didn't. They made it a thing, but not really.
It was not enough.
And
of
then
a
he
thing.
brought Zari there just to try to be like, hey, so
It
just
was
so you know.
not enough of a
Just
thing
so
that
you
he had
know.
2 baby mamas there. As
They were cool
somebody-
though. They were sitting across from each other just talking. They
Okay,
were
when
just
this
having a good
Zoom
conversation.
started, the thing that I was laughing at where Kenye was like, we live, right? It was one of our cousins putting in our cousin chat. Or was it
You
Kenye?
guys are supposed to add me to a chat, right?
And this is not Zoom.
I'm sorry,
This is a live. This is a live. This is a live.
Mine doesn't work,
when
though.
When I am at work.
What
No, I
chat
got
were we
you
supposed to
back-to-back
add you to?
Zoom.
There
Oh,
was-
the Sierra Leone Association.
Yes, please.
I don't know if you want to be part of it. I'm not saying that you know, but
I do want to be a part of that.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. So listen, in our sister cousin chat, it was like a little meme that said, "I look at my baby daddy as a brother now." As somebody who looks at one of her baby daddies as a brother, I can totally understand Andale's like wanting to have them around. Like literally, when it's a family function, I want like Omari's dad around because he's a part of my family. Like at this point, we've been together, from our 20s, like mid 20s to 30. We've known each other for now going on 20 years if you round it up, right? Our son is 16 this year.
Right.
Like he's been there for all the highs and lows. Was he responsible for 50% of the lows? He was. But we have let bygones be bygones, and that ninja's cool in the mud. As long as you're not married to him, he is cooler than a fan. So like I get you wanting them to be around, but 2 at the same party, fam.
Was that even a necessary party?
And
It wasn't
Zari-
one of your children's parties.
And
was it?
Zari, and they weren't there giving what they were supposed to give. That was the other thing that just obsessed me about the whole situation. So you're here, baby mama number 1 and baby mama number 2, and you knew that Andile is likely to be introducing other potential baby mama number 3s, and you came there not slaying. I did not appreciate the whole situation.
Andile
Andile
a little. I don't know
he's
about
sus.
Andile.
He's real sus. He's real sus.
So Krista's saying she needs to binge watch. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's really easy to
binge watchable.
It is binge watchable. I binge watched it before we were supposed to meet up 2 weeks ago. I watched it all in 2 days. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I did that day, and I started taking episode by episode notes as you guys just saw.
I don't know. The thing for me, what I will say is I binge watched it because I just adore seeing wealth in Africa. I adored it. That's the reason
necessary.
Why I'm in Ghana as opposed to being in Sierra Leone. I adore seeing like the wealth that Africa has to offer. But in reality, like you're gonna binge watch it because you can't look away, because once you've started, you need to see how like it ends.
Yeah.
But are you going to love it because of the reality show acting quality? Like, does it have the same like level of like reality show acting quality or editing that like Rahowa does? No. It's like stage. Like Kanye is trying to make it that, but like you're not enough. You're no Nene. Like you're no Nene Leaks. Don't summon me to anything, girl. Like you don't summon me.
Girl,
to
Kanye and her meetings with people that she swears she got. I think I need to have a girl shut.
Even with Two-Face, right? She took him at that.
Literally every last person. Kanye was like, I think I need to go and have a sit down and find out what's going on.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? I used to watch The Real Housewives of New Jersey. And Caroline Manzo, in the first season, there was a woman
Caroline Manzo.
She was like the godmother.
She's
the one that went to prison?
No. She was another
that was
Caroline.
Teresa.
Oh yeah.
So it was Teresa, but then there was Caroline. She wasn't particularly pretty, but she was slightly older than them, and she was clearly like the boss, godmother, head, be in charge. Like everybody would come to her house to eat or whatever.
Like Jill in New York. I used to watch all these shows.
Clearly.
All right, my sisters put me on to the shows.
Caroline Manzo, you went back.
But when it comes to TV, I just want y'all to know, until about 4 years ago, I spent probably 40% of my life consuming some kind of content. Yeah. I remember being told, like, my sisters used to be like, you better make money off TV as much. And I did. I worked at Hulu for 4 years.
There you go.
So I did. But I mean, at some point I had to, like, get serious about life and stop watching so much damn TV. I watched everything.
Yeah.
I watched everything.
Yeah, so that's what I'll say. You're gonna enjoy the content if you love Africa, if you love seeing like wealth, if you love fashion, because Swanky and Andile are going to be there just like Zari is also going to be there slaying you in every scene. But like as far as like the actual, it's not acting, but whatever you call this, like as far as
it
like
kind of is acting.
What as far as acting, it's going to give you B level actor kind of like quality, but I don't know. I binged it.
It's good though.
Yeah, it's good.
I finished it in one single day.
It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. All right, guys. On that note, I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll be back. It will probably be done in some other format because I am leaving on Sunday and I will not be here in country. Yeah. So when we do this again, we'll have to do it on.
Now we're gonna be on Zoom and y'all talking about.
We'll still be on live, but some other way of doing live. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all on the next live. Bye, guys. If I can find the thing that I need to find to shut this off.